well, I'm in this trial right now. This guy named Trump, I'm in the jury right now. So I was able to get away.
You look hale.
I'm doing good, man. How you doing? It's good.
60s.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about the decade. I'm talking about us.
Did you?
I would feel like, I think, if you read the obituaries, people around our age are dying. So like when somebody says, "How you doing?" I'm like,
Exactly.
Compared to, there's a lot of.
I know.
When you, who Bill Walton.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Just died yesterday, right?
I know.
71. I'm 68. Okay, so it's not like
you start seeing those ages now.
Well, I feel fine, but
he was 72. He's 72.
71. Bill Walton.
71. Oh,
yeah,
71,
well, whatever
72.
it was,
Something like
it's
that. Right.
Close.
Right, it's close. Right.
Let's just say one more presidential election away.
Exactly.
When it comes to your life,
Right.
but then people live to Mel Brooks is 112.
Right.
And still funny.
That's why I always felt like sad. This is gonna sound weird, but I always felt sad for like Prince Charles,
Yes.
or King Charles, because it's like his mother, first of all, lived forever, right?
Right.
And that's his only thing he's waiting on in his life.
Right.
Her father died in his 50s or something. He had like lung cancer or something like that. He's thinking, if I look at the family tree, I don't have much longer. And then he gets cancer. So you think he'd get, a little bit of sympathy. But then Kate gets cancer. So he's like, I can't win here.
I know. What's your genetics like? Do your
It's
parents
pretty good.
live pretty good?
It's pretty good. My mom's father, he lived into his 90s. He's like that old school Southern kind of black man.
Right.
He's from Arkansas. My father's side is more problematic. His dad died when he was 39. So he died of a brain hemorrhage, though.
Oh.
So my dad, it's kind of like that Mickey Mantle thing, but he didn't have the destructive thing where Mickey Mantle's father, died when he was young or something. So Mickey...
Hodgkin's disease.
Yeah, and one of the reasons...
Mickey always thought he was going to die
always thought he was going to die.
And then he drank a lot and made himself.
Yes, exactly.
He actually lived longer than he should have.
He did.
He probably would have lived to 100.
And
he got like a liver transplant.
He really fucked himself.
He really did.
He brought that upon himself.
You wonder, that's the mystery of life. Like, who could it be? Yes, he probably had a rough childhood in Oklahoma, but once he got out of Oklahoma, how could it be better in the 1950s and 60s than to be the blonde, good-looking farm kid from Oklahoma who comes to the big city, is the star, and like, I'm sure back then when chicks didn't put out.
Oh, it was crazy.
They did. Not as much.
Yeah.
In the 50s, no.
But for somebody like Mickey Mantle?
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
I think they made exceptions.
Oh, 1,000%.
I'm just saying less percentages. But yes, probably any one of them could have been persuaded by the right person, because that is the thing about women that I think is under-talked about. Like, they're generally, of course, much more circumspect about giving up sexuality than we are. We have no scruples, okay? They have much more, and it's just their nature. It's biology. You want to protect, they're being invaded. You want to make sure the person invading you is a little, of course.
We don't give a shit where we invade,
because we'd withdraw. But I feel like even back when it was much more dangerous to be a woman, they still, like there's certain guys which they can't help themselves.
No. Guys had a good run. They had a really, like people talk about Me Too.
Yeah.
I look at it like this. You motherfuckers had a good run, or we motherfuckers, we had a really good run in terms of being able to do whatever the fuck they wanted. So,
don't lump me in there.
No.
Or you,
well, not
or
me.
you. I'm just saying.
It wasn't my lifestyle.
Every guy is certain. After the Me Too era, which of course I think was a great development and long overdue. But every guy sort of is looked at
Thanks
as.
for the drink, by the way.
What's that?
Thanks for this.
Oh yeah. Do you have what you want?
Oh yeah, this is perfect.
But every guy is sort of looked on as like, well, you probably did something. And,
exactly.
I did things I wasn't proud of, but they were cad things. They weren't Me Too kind of things. It wasn't.
Exactly.
Okay, I mean.
Like in bars, here's the thing. People aren't going to like this, but when we were coming up in bars, people felt up other people as a thing. No, I'm serious, Bill. This sounds horrible, but I'm not wrong. I'm not
you are
wrong.
not wrong.
People did that. In fact, people would brag about it, you know? And in fact, they used to have it in movies. Hey, man, did you get any titty? You know, did you feel that? You know, or whatever. It was a thing for a guy to cop a feel. That was the term, right? Cop a feel.
Yeah, I mean, being a woman then.
I'm not saying that's the right thing.
No, we're not at all. But being a woman then was like being a stripper now.
Yeah.
Like in the strip club.
Right,
where
exactly.
Guys just like they can touch you and and in the strip club, you know, I mean, I personally think that is what ruined strip clubs. And I think once they went from something you looked at but couldn't touch, it was you know, stripping is an ancient art form that goes back 3,000 years. There's even a fancy word for it. Ecdyseist is a stripper.
Ecdyseist?
Yes. Ecdyseist.
That sounds like one of those words from a sketch like the Marx Brothers. And you know what I mean?
Promise
well,
it's
when ecdyseist, then I know it's going to be good. If I see us.
Right, or I miss an Andy.
This must be my lucky day.
Ecdyseist, yes. It's Greek, I think.
It sounds Greek. Well, it's kind of come full circle now. Now, like sometimes you look at the movies of those burlesque clubs, you know, where they'd have the tassels on the breast going around like that. And sometimes you'd see women in those audiences and that type of thing. Because like you said, you know, it was a show. But now strip clubs, men and women go together again. Because it's more corporate now too, where it's all about the dollar bills. Yeah.
It has evolved. It's more like an after hours club.
Exactly.
And
it's kind of changed.
There's the one in Miami, 11, kind of combined. I think they were at the forefront of that. Of kind of combining the strip club with the nightclub. Also, rappers break their records there.
Exactly.
And then clubs like 11, I think 50 Cent played there last New Year's Eve.
Atlanta has a lot of clubs now.
He may have been late for the New Year's Eve show, which I thought was very funny. It's like, of the one thing.
Hilarious. Right.
If he's, excuse me, 50, if you didn't, but I think I read that. Maybe it was somebody.
It's the one time you don't want to be late.
Well, come on.
What I missed? Where is everybody?
I just thought
That's hilarious.
It is. If it didn't happen, it should happen in a script.
That's very funny.
Look, I'm writing your whole next show for you.
I love that. Thank you.
Giving you character names, plot points,
it writes itself.
So I'm so glad you came by.
Yeah, I'm going to see you next week. We're doing the book event. Congrats on your book being #1.
Hit #1 today.
How awesome is that?
Thank you. Do I have it here? Damn. Oh, I guess we have a commercial.
No.
I want it always
but that's great, man. You
you know what? It's grueling selling a book. I really got a great respect for. I mean, I just got back from New York and did 8 shows in 2 days.
Yeah.
And you sign 1,000 books.
And you're kind of giving the same type of thing all the time.
Well, I try vary.
Yeah,
certainly if they're asking you directly about the book, that is true. Yeah, it's grueling. It's absolutely grueling. Yeah. And I have really a new respect for the people who make their living doing this. Because this is not really, this isn't something I didn't have to do or need the money to do. Lots of people write books. That's their living.
Exactly.
So they got to sell it.
Yeah.
Me, it was just,
And many of them aren't celebrities, too.
I'm saying.
They're pounding the pavement out there selling those books. Yeah.
Michael Moore told me for one of his books, he did a 60-city tour. 60 cities.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot.
I went to New York for 2 days.
Yeah.
I was wrung out.
Yeah. I did a book tour. I wrote one in 2009, I think it was. And we were at the book festival in Miami, and I was there with John Hodgman, and there was a guy who was supposed to interview us. And we were just riffing backstage. We're like, we don't really need you. And we just interviewed each other on stage. It was so hilarious. We didn't even talk about our books,
But thank you for doing this.
Of course.
I really appreciate it.
It's my pleasure.
They sent me a list of like 20 people, and I circled about 3 of them, but you were one of them.
I appreciate that. Can I embarrass you for a quick second?
Please do.
I will, because I have to give people their props. When my show went away, you emailed me. I don't forget stuff like this, man. You didn't have to do it. You did it directly. You didn't do it through people. You said, hey, man,
Yeah, it was good.
You did good, if you ever want to come to my show. I mean, you were just nice, and I don't forget shit like that.
Thank you.
So.
Well, no, I meant it. I don't do it unless I mean it. I am not the slap on the back for nothing kind of guy. So when you do get a compliment from something, it means something. I certainly don't have a reputation as being cuddly, even though everybody who actually knows me would say I pretty much am.
Right.
But, you know, I thought, you know, you did a better show than, I mean, God, how many shows have been in that
I know.
kind of
There's
time
been a
slot? Than 90% of them.
I appreciate that.
You know, and
I still hear...
It's partly because a lot of the other ones were really,
well, we tackled race
really
head on.
shitty. What?
And we tackled race head on, like when nobody was doing that. And I still hear from people at least once or twice a week, say, Larry, we missed your show. What they really miss is nobody's talking about those issues and doing it with comedy. You know, like, but we have to do a show, like...
And I'm all for that, as long as we hear both sides.
Right, exactly.
Because there is a large black silent majority, in my view.
Yeah.
They are not as liberal as the white...
I agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I feel like I certainly personally know people, black men, who they're not with AOC.
It's every black family, Bill. That's what it's called.
this fight going on, you mean?
It's 1,000% true. Because especially multi-generational families, many, especially older blacks, and I'm old enough to know, we never said liberal or conservative. We've never said those things. Blacks were mainly in the Democratic Party when I was a kid, but they used to be in the Republican Party.
Of course.
You know, for different reasons, of course. But it was really about the Civil Rights Act and the Voting Rights Act in the 60s that put most of the Democratic, most of the blacks in the Democratic Party. But being an activist for whatever they stand for is different than having an allegiance to a party for a reason.
In this book, what this comedian said will shock you, which just went to #1. There is one of the editorials, I worked in there. I reworked them all, but it's the basic idea was a political party is like your lawyer.
Right.
They both use the word representative. You have a representative in court and you have a representative in Congress. And it kind of means the same thing. And that's what people make a decision on. They're not sentimental about it. When the Republican Party was the party of emancipation, you're my lawyer.
Right, exactly.
For good reason.
Yeah.
And when it switched, because it was the Democrats who undid Reconstruction, and you know, Andrew Johnson was a Democrat.
Oh, he was a motherfucker.
Right.
Yeah.
Lincoln was the Republican.
Yeah.
Then it switched, and Kennedy sent troops into the South.
Yeah.
And Hubert Humphrey introduced the first Civil Rights Act.
Yeah.
It was the Dixiecrat Democrats who walked out of the convention in 1948, just because Hubert Humphrey suggested a plank, a civil rights plank.
Right. And he said famously, segregation today, segregation tomorrow, segregation forever.
That was George Wallace in 1963. And when Kennedy sent troops into the South so they could go to school and so forth, okay, now you're my lawyer.
Exactly. See,
now you represent me.
I have a healthy outlook on this. I just view all white people as problematic. So it doesn't matter what party you're in. You know, there's just going to be...
And I know that's a joke, and you can make every joke in the world on me. I just want to point out that we do live in an era now where lots of stuff can't happen in reverse.
Yes.
Like I can't make that joke about you.
Right. Well, that's the top dog.
And I don't want to. but I couldn't say what you said in reverse with black.
Sure, absolutely.
And there's lots of examples I could give of that. And that's okay.
Now
I ain't mad at that. I'm just saying
you just can't say it in public.
I believe everything is in public now. What in the fucking world is not in public?
That's true. But here's the thing. That's just the top dog underdog dynamic is what I call it. You know, like top dog. Underdog gets to make fun of top dog, but top dog
that's true.
can't make fun of underdog.
I tell you, I ain't mad at it.
But
I mean, it goes beyond that. I mean, sometimes it's, I mean, you can find a lot of TikToks of young...
A lot of TikToks.
Black women, usually women, but saying, I just can't deal with white people today. And again...
Some of that's... You know what that is, though,
It's
Bill?
just, can you imagine if a white person said that in reverse? So, and it's not a good thing.
They just don't put it, they don't put it online, but some of them do say that.
But the fact that you make a TikTok out of it says a lot.
You have permission. You have cultural permission to do it.
Cultural permission. What a beautiful phrase.
Right.
But that is not, to be serious, is not a healthy attitude.
Well,
and an unnecessary attitude. I want to know the specifics of how Whitey fucked up your day.
She feels the weight of the diaspora is there in that
statement. You're just going to Starbucks, for fuck's sake. I think, it's just not healthy.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of oppression by proxy with a lot of young people, and
another beautiful phrase.
And the by proxy is the generations who actually went through a lot of the heavy lifting of oppression and segregation. And so and look, you can have generational trauma and those types of things. It expresses itself in different ways, especially like the health of individuals and stuff like that, because certain traits are passed down and as well as habits, because sometimes culturally you can you can be the intervention on bad legacies and that types of things. Of course, education and that type of thing. But I think a lot, and I know this is old man yelling at the clouds type of thing, for me, but a lot of it, I believe, is suffering by extension. Like a lot of sometimes protests, like when I see protests by proxy, I feel that way, as opposed to protests when you have skin in the game.
Right.
Right. Where it's like, you don't have skin in the game, so you can say whatever the fuck you want. If you have skin in the game, you're going to act a little differently when it comes to this.
And that's why
things will be in perspective, Bill, a little bit more.
That's why it was dumb for them to compare the Vietnam protests in the 60s. Those kids did have skin in the game.
That's correct.
They did not want to get drafted and go to Vietnam.
That's exactly
that was a lot different.
That's exactly right. You know what? Part of me, too, I feel the civil rights movement, I'm upset that the civil rights movement and the extension of it became a political football. That really hurts me, because to me, it was never a political movement, nor should it have ever been. It was more like a human movement.
How could it not become political, though?
I know, but to me...
Because it needed to involve government, and government...
But both sides came together to pass those bills, If you look at what Lyndon Johnson did, he brought the right and the left together to pass those landmark bills. He didn't do it one side.
Okay, but many people, I'm sure, voted against them.
Absolutely.
Okay, so...
But enough voted for it, which is extraordinary.
But that still requires politics to actually... Lyndon Johnson, the great picture of him where he's leaning over to that guy, that picture I'm talking about.
Sure, I was just at the library,
actually. That one picture shows that's how government is done, sad though is to say.
Right.
You vote for my bill, my friend, or let me tell you, there may be trouble in your district.
Good impression.
Well, whatever. It's like my generic Southerner, but,
Well, here's what I mean. Let me be a little bit clear. I shouldn't say politics, like it's not a movement of the left.
No.
That's what I mean.
No.
And it's not a movement of the right. To me, it's a humanist movement. That's what I mean. But I think it was hijacked by the left, and I think a lot of the reasons why was because I think the Vietnam movement, it kind of rode its coattails, of the civil rights. That's how I'm saying.
I mean, everything.
It kind of got blended together, which that was certainly a movement of the left,
I feel like all of the flow of our history, of any history, is just backlash to backlash. Like something causes something. So like there was the original sin of slavery, and then we fought the war, and so now they hate them. They hate the North, and now the Republicans and the Democrats. And then the Democrats came to be the champions before when the Republicans were more the champions of the African American, and it just causes. I mean, the Republicans, after they lost that constituency, they went the other way. Right. Reagan opened his campaign in 1980 in Philadelphia, Mississippi, and that was Philadelphia
wasn't lost on people.
It was not lost on people. It was a place where there was a racial atrocity, and he was winking at it, and he was saying, not overtly, but racists, the people who are still racist, because certainly in 1980 we were still in, I would say, the racist era. I guess we will always be to a degree. Yeah, well, but in a much more. Right. And he was saying to them, "You're welcome in this party because it's obvious by now. This is 16 years after JFK, that this is where the lines are drawn now in America." I remember reading a quote from a guy, and I cannot say the quote, so maybe I'll just point to you. Okay, so this is some guy. He was a some poor guy white guy in Louisiana.
Right.
And this was his summation of politics.
Okay.
The Republicans are for the rich. The Democrats are for the
niggers.
Who's for me?
Yeah. Right.
I thought it was like a haiku of poor
Well, Bill, here's
white.
the other thing. That was not, here's the thing a lot of people don't realize. That wasn't controversial language for people
no, I read
back
it,
in the day.
I believe I read it in the newspaper.
I remember Johnny Carson actually said that when Richard Pryor was on, because he was saying, you don't use the word nigger anymore. Like he was saying that. And Richard Pryor said, nigga, why are you using it? Johnny Carson.
They did a whole sketch on SNL.
Oh, yeah.
In 1975.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, it was just...
Yeah.
I just think people were more mature then.
Yeah.
And they had the context of, okay, we're using this word, but we're not using it to be derogatory. And very often, in fact, we're using it to...
sticking a pin in it.
In the cause of satirizing racism. John Lennon had a song.
I remember. I'm a big Beatles fan, by the way, too. It's something that...
Oh, good.
There you go.
You must be if you know that shitty song and shitty record.
It's not a good title either.
It's not a good record.
Yeah.
It's called Sometime in New York City.
Absolutely.
And John had moved to New York.
Yeah, he was drunk on Yoko. So he was during that time. And remember, that's why he needed that long fucking weekend with May Lee or whoever she was.
May Lee, I could bust you for racism on that one. Yeah, that's right, Larry. They're all called May Lee. Yeah, we too low.
It's the dream. Me love you long time. That's awesome.
That's Buddy Miles.
That's amazing.
It was in an album I had when I was like 13.
Yes, albums like when you
had because they gave you a poster.
Exactly.
And then you can like look at that.
Yeah, I love that.
It's so cool.
You can see the creases how it was in the album. Yeah, that's awesome.
I know.
I love that.
Anyway, so when John they moved to New York after the Beatles broke up. That's the Dakota, the place where he was unfortunately shot.
Under investigation by Nixon at the time.
Yes, and they were
Elvis's help.
They were trying to throw him out. Nixon was trying to throw him out of the country. He got past that and loved New York. He could walk around, and they lived the Dakota, 72nd and Central Park West. And the guy who imagines no possessions, Elvis Costello, busted him on a song called "The Other Side of Summer."
Right.
And was there a millionaire who said, "Imagine no possessions"?
Right.
And they had one floor just with shit in it. They bought a whole floor of the Dakota.
There's a lot of excess, Yeah,
well, it doesn't mean I don't love them.
Right.
But like
a lot of contradictions with Lennon.
Stars are just not like us.
No.
They're, when they do dumb things like, so.
And rock stars get away with the most.
Oh, well, of course.
They get away. Nobody gets away with it.
I think they were a very sincere couple.
Yeah.
But it just make me laugh that like, okay, I'm at the end of my rope to my marriage to this Asian woman. I'm going to leave with another Asian woman who's our secretary.
Right, exactly.
It's like, talk about bringing your troubles with you.
I know. Yoko version 2. The improved version.
Obviously you need something different, man.
Yeah. You know what was interesting going to the Beatles? People say that the real love affair, the real love story was John and Paul.
I say that.
Yeah, it was John and Paul.
I say that often with whoever will listen. And I have this running argument going with someone. I won't say who, but he's a very close friend. And I say, have you seen? It's an 8-hour movie.
Yeah. The
whole movie. We're talking about the Get Back movie.
Yeah.
That's the Let It Be movie that they were making in 1969.
Right. That's right.
And
which was supposed to be just a filler for a TV show, actually.
No, they wanted to make a movie. They had grand ideas about a big finale that they were going to film at the Pyramid.
But the documentary part was the filler for the concert. That's what it was going to be, a live concert.
Yes.
And then they were just going to show them.
I know, but they talked about it being on an amphitheater in Greece at dawn. And then they wound up going to the roof. That's what I love about stars.
Awesome, yeah. Like Ringo's like, I'm not going to some stupid
amphitheater. And they were going to do it on a boat and, all this shit. And then they just go up on the roof. So, you got to love a garage band.
Oh, it was awesome.
The greatest garage band in the world.
It's the best, yeah. It's the best.
But like throughout the whole movie, he never even looks at Yoko. It's just like a potted plant. And he and Paul are making eye contact the whole time, making each other laugh. It is a love affair. You can see it on camera.
Complete.
And I just don't understand why I have to even have this argument with people. No, they hated each other.
No, absolutely
Look
not.
It's like you can lie with your mouth and lie in writing, but you cannot lie in pictures of your face.
And demeanor.
This is what the tabloids do best. They get pictures of people, and the pictures never lie. If you're having a good time in the relationship,
that's right.
They're looking at each other, they're making eye contact, they're smiling, they're laughing, and then there's those.
Well, I think what really, when the Beatles hit, people, they were kind of androgynous, I guess you could say, using words now. People weren't really using that then.
Yes.
But it was like, this is the term that I use with my daughter. I said, it was really just good old-fashioned man-on-man love was what it was.
Right.
Where the love between men, it's a bond that, and I don't mean in a homosexual way, I mean, but men have a certain type of love of each other where they really want to be around each other because they share the same interests, which in that case is music making.
Wait a second, not in a homosexual way? No, Larry, I was going to pour you another drink. Oh,
well, it doesn't have to be, is what I'm saying.
No, I feel like an asshole. And I was roofing you and everything.
Well, apparently John was bisexual too,
No.
Well,
there's that
he took that trip with Brian Epstein.
He took a trip with him.
I'm just saying, Brian had a crush on him.
Brian was gay, we all know that.
Everybody knows
but that doesn't mean they fucked on that trip. But you're right, I put it at a 50-50. I don't think it's impossible because
it could have happened.
It's weird to me because I would never do that. Like, I would never oh, you know what? I just think I'll see what it feels like to be in a man's asshole. That not only does it not cross my mind, if it does, it upsets me. Right. I don't want to do that. That doesn't mean I don't love gay people, but I'm not one of them. And so I don't get I'll give it a try. It's just not something I feel that way about. I feel strongly about it.
But if John was bisexual or didn't know he was bisexual, then maybe being with Brian kind of awakened that side of him. So it wasn't a straight guy doing that, but it was somebody who maybe had the inclination to do it.
Let's see if we can introduce Yoko into this scenario where he's really secretly gay, because she was a mother.
Not secretly gay, bisexual.
Okay, right, bisexual.
Right, which is different.
Very different.
Right.
So I could fit that in because she was I think Albert Goldman was the one who brilliantly pointed out, he went from a stern mother figure with his Aunt Mimi to another stern mother figure, some would say, in Yoko.
And arguably, Cynthia was probably better suited for him as a mate.
And called her mother.
Well, yeah.
Whenever a guy calls his wife mother...
It's over.
I'm so out.
So this is an Oedipal type of thing. You want to have sex with your mom.
I mean, it's just, ugh.
Yeah.
I mean, she calling you daddy, nothing wrong with that.
And he was pretty much he felt he was abandoned by his mother and his father. Because that was his aunt who raised him.
Well, his mother, yes, right.
Even before she died, she kind of was like, I'm not trying to raise the son right now.
I mean, his father just plain up got a cab.
Oh, he was a dick.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so that happens a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't condone it, but
Especially that's another thing.
Oh, yeah.
People don't realize how fucked up the world was, with those types of things.
Way more fucked up.
Men with just fucking abandoned families back then.
Totally.
It was crazy.
I mean, not that that still doesn't go on.
Right, but I mean, it was ruthless in those days. That's why you have all those orphan stories and that type of thing.
Let me ask you this. What do you think of, the Larry Elder school? There is a school with facts. Larry Elder is not an unserious person.
Sure, no, I know Larry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. And he's not the only one. And they say, they give stats about black below the poverty line. Most of the progress was made between 1940 and 1960. This is their argument against the social justice stuff, even of the Lyndon Johnson era. And one of the stats is also that, black kids being born in a home with two parents, much higher, 67% in 1960, and by 1995 it was, 30, 40 points lower.
Right.
What do you think of that thesis? That's the
proving.
I mean, that's what conservative Black.
Well, I think those types of things, because just so you know, I went down like a conservative rabbit hole in the 90s. Like the whole 90s I spent going down this and reading up on all these people and listening to
Thomas Sowell.
All of it, right? Thomas Sowell, all of these people. Even Larry Elder when he first came on, and Dennis Prager, all these people. And, you know, because my parents blessed me with the ability to think for myself, which is why I love you, too, because you think for yourself.
Right back at you, right.
Right, so.
Keeping it 100.
Exactly, right? So I take the things that I feel are to be true in my experience, and I don't care who says it. I don't care who says something if it's true.
Exactly.
You know, and I take things that I think you have an agenda there that you're using this evidence to prove an agenda. And I make a distinction between those two.
Exactly how I try to do it.
I make a distinction. Can I have a cigar? Is that... I brought a cigar?
No, this is not a cigar.
Do you mind if I smoke?
Oh, no.
Okay,
you smoke anything you want here.
Oh, I appreciate it. But I brought it just in case.
Why do you want it, though? What do you get out of that? I don't get it.
It's a relaxation thing.
Why?
Is what it is.
What's relaxing about it?
It just is. I don't know how to
Really?
explain it. Yeah.
I know. So many men are into it.
Yeah. I've been smoking cigars for at least 25 years. Yeah.
But you don't inhale it, of course.
No, you don't inhale. So that's what makes it...
What? Makes it...
You still get a buzz from cigars. Yeah.
You do?
Yeah, you do.
You get a buzz from a cigar?
Absolutely, especially a real strong
cigar. Give me one.
No, I'm serious, you do. People don't realize that.
I don't realize that.
This is a Jerry Lewis slider, by the way. You'll see what I mean.
Right.
Well, ladies.
Ladies.
But I'll tell you about this.
There's a guy who got away with murder.
Oh, yeah.
When he was like,
Oh, Bill. It was crazy in those days. I mean, he really assaulted women. But, I mean, he really did. But
I think
okay, a lot of different things can be true at the same time. Okay.
So true.
So let me just hit Spears about this real quick. So a lot of those programs did break down the Black family in this way. In order to qualify for welfare, a man couldn't be in the house. Okay? That was insidious to me. The government said, in fact, the movie Claudine explores that, James Earl Jones and Diane Carroll. And so a lot of Black families were broken up because if you were poor and destitute and you needed the money, man couldn't be in the house. So why are you going to be married? And that happened from the 60s on. So that explains a lot of the breaking up.
It happened from the 60s on.
Correct. So and we're talking about poor families.
Okay, so let's continue down this, because this is always what I'm trying to do.
Right.
Is I don't trust either side. I feel like not that they don't lie, they just don't give you the full story.
Exactly, they have an agenda.
So like now, this is great. I'm trying to...
I have a word for it, by the way. I call it primo simpjurius. You were like that. That's
primo
simpjurius. That's Latin for first Simpson jury.
Okay.
Yeah, where they clearly had an agenda. The jury's like, this Black man is not going to jail. Not on our watch. He is not going to jail. You know.
Right.
But that's what I felt, at least. You know. So.
And I always defended Black America on that one.
Oh yeah, I'm not mad at the people.
I was like, no one's fooled that it wasn't a murder.
Right.
But the fact that white America couldn't stand, they got one was so much more offensive than the murder itself.
Exactly. That's exactly what it was. So anyhow, so this thing that's partly to blame what happened in a lot of poor Black communities where families were broken up like that, especially young people. Why would they get married if they're not going to have government assistance? So many people didn't even get married, right?
Right.
So that did a lot.
But who passed that law?
That was the Great Society.
Okay, so that's their point. Was that the Great Society?
But there's another point here.
Okay.
But there's also a growing Black middle class and Black upper class that's happened where families are together. And education has been the key for that. Education has been a tool that...
Always the key.
And it's always the key. And people don't talk about how much bigger the Black middle class is now than it was back then.
Most Black people live in the suburbs.
Correct. You know, so that's the other part of it. So why don't we look at the successes of it too?
What do you think of Biden's speech at Maher? Me too.
I didn't like it.
I loved Andrew Sullivan's column, as I always...
I love Andrew Sullivan.
Yes. And I thought he had it right. First of all, he quoted Obama speaking at the same college.
He got it, remember Obama.
Like 10 years earlier.
Yeah.
And it was night and day.
Yeah.
Obama's was all about, so many doors have been broken down. You have so many good reasons to hope. and no more excuses, and went over way better. Of course, obviously, it's a different standard he's working from as a black man speaking to that college. But Biden's was just so, like, I thought, 2000 late.
It's condescending. This is the reason.
Condescending,
couldn't, one of the reasons why Al Gore really turned me off in 2000, when he was running against Bill Bradley in the primaries, and I'm a basketball fan, so don't talk against Bill Bradley. He's one of the classic Knicks,
Dollar
right?
Bill.
One of the classic
Knicks.
Knicks.
I've been a Knicks fan since he was...
Exactly. Right. So even though I was a Laker fan, the Knicks have always been my second team, right? So I'm not mad at Bill Bradley at all. Love Bill Bradley. But Al Gore said something like, if you vote for Bill Bradley, you're going to go back to the time when black people were like one of those type of statements, He was trying to...
Bill Bradley's a Democrat.
I know, but he was trying to make a point because I don't know if Bill Bradley said something or whatever, but he said something like
Bill Bradley's a big liberal.
Trust me, he said something like that
I believe
in that vein. And I'm like, Al Gore, you have a lot of fucking nerve, First of all, he's the one from Tennessee,
Well, that's not half as obnoxious as when Biden told Charlemagne,
oh, yeah, if he ain't black,
That is such a bad attitude.
So my take on this too, Bill, is that I tell people, I was born in 1961, right? And I was too young to know what was all the bad shit that was going on in the world. But here's what I wasn't too young to get, that we were trying to go to the moon, And so I call my generation moonshot generation, like anything was possible.
Oh, you were 8.
Yeah, anything was possible. We went to the fucking moon. And so Obama was born the same year as me. He became president. And when I hosted the White House Correspondents' Dinner, I did Obama's last one.
I remember.
And I said the line that apparently, got me in trouble. Whatever.
Yes.
Fuck you, motherfuckers. I said, when we were kids, a black man couldn't even be the quarterback of a football team.
Right.
And you're the leader of the free world. And I said, yo, Barry, you did it, my nigga, you did it.
Oh, I remember.
And I cried when I wrote the line, Bill, because of what it meant. And to me, I live in the world of aspiration, not in the world of desperation, because I know those things exist. I've talked about them, make jokes about it, but I always keep it in perspective of you have to, if you want to build something, you don't want to just put Band-Aids on things in your life. You want to also build things in your life too. And you build through being inspired.
It's such a healthier attitude, even if you're not political, just to understand that it's a healthier attitude for any individual, and that we, as much as have this despicable past and somewhat despicable present, but there's despicable everywhere, you still eminently live now in a society where that is possible, where anything is possible.
And I like when people point out, like I was doing something in Salt Lake City. It was a special called Larry Wilmore's Race, Religion, and Sex in Utah was the name of it. I did it at Showtime.
What was it called?
Larry Wilmore's Race, Religion, and Sex in Utah was the complete title. It was a special I did at Showtime. This is when Obama was running 2012. And people are like, and I wanted to have Mormons on the show. I just wanted to get their experience of things because Mitt Romney was running then. And I learned a lot about Mormons and how much they actually work and do things in the poor black communities and that kind of stuff too. It's really interesting. Mormons are interesting people. But people are like, but people were trying to tell me, for a lot of different reasons. Larry, Mormons, up until 1978, they wouldn't allow black people in the church. I'm like, you give me one institution in America that didn't have a racist expiration date, Theirs was just in the 70s,
Right.
Give me the Baptist Church. When was their racist expiration date?
The Democratic Party.
Give me their racist expiration date.
I mean, that's funny. They go after this premier prime minister of Italy named Giorgia Meloni. And look, I don't think she's a kook at all. She's a conservative. She got elected, okay? She's not a nut.
Right.
They constantly, but because nothing is nuanced anymore. In the paper, they always talk about, the second thing out of their mouth is always, well, she has fascist party roots.
Right.
Yes, because like her grandfather, something Mussolini, but she's renounced him.
Right.
And I always want to say, the Democratic Party has Ku Klux Klan roots. Robert Byrd was your speaker not that long ago, and he was in the Klan.
Completely.
And again, the Dixiecrats, Strom Thurmond.
He was successful in the Klan. He was the Grand Wizard.
Who?
Robert Byrd.
He was the Grand Wizard?
I think it was the Grand Wizard. Not only in the Klan, he did well in the Klan. Bill, you're leaving out the most important part. He was a success.
Yeah, but you know those top brass. They don't know anything about the field.
Yeah, he was a bureaucrat in the Klan.
Exactly. That's how you get to the top. You kiss ass and you go along, and you're political. Okay.
Next thing you know, you don't have to actually burn the crosses.
It's the guys
anymore.
in the trenches with the crosses,
Yes.
the sergeants, the lieutenants. They're the ones doing all that. It just made me think. Here's a woke thing that pissed me off.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm reading, and I don't want to be. I love the New York Times today. I've been reading it since I was a child, literally a child. They've got a lot more woke, and so I do take my shots at them. But I hope they know.
I've been reading it for about 45 years.
Yeah, I hope they know. I certainly don't stop reading them. Okay. But some things make my eyes roll, and so I'm sorry, I have to mention it. I don't have to mention this, and it's trivial, but it's just an example of the kind of person that is in the newsroom now. I'm sorry, but they're probably of a certain generation that thinks I'm a square, but I'm not the square, actually. So I'm reading this. It's reading about Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert? Do you know sport?
The basketball player?
Yeah.
Yeah, from Minnesota.
Yeah, now. Okay, but he was on the Jazz.
Right, yes, that's right.
So he gets traded to the Wolves. They're now in the semifinals, right? Western Conference Final. Yeah. Right. So, and it was like, the headline was like, so that when he got traded, they did a story about him like, Rudy Gobert on, playing defense and whatever, and racism in Utah. And I thought, I can't wait to get to this part, because it sounds like this. And then the question comes, what about racism in Utah? And Rudy Gobert's answer was, yeah, everybody was great to us all the time. Yes. My wife, my family, they were just great. Right. And you can almost feel the reporter's disappointment, like,
exactly.
Oh, there was no race. I mean, that's great. There was no racism in Utah.
Are you sure? You want to take your time?
And that's the thing about the younger generations that you were getting at before. They feel cheated by progress.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it,
Yeah, right.
Like there's something's being missed out on. So you really don't want that. You think you do, but you really don't. And granted, the other thing is, Bill, because of social media, when there are incidents, they get blown up like that's the norm, but it's not. You're not going to go in the South and there aren't separate bathrooms, like that. What people are blowing up on social media was the norm everywhere at a certain point. That's the biggest change. It's not. Now there incidents here and there, but it feels like it's everywhere because if it's being shared,
I feel like racism is written about almost exclusively by people who live in places where they never actually see any.
Sometimes, yeah.
This town, nothing could be less cool than to be racist.
Right.
In 2024.
Right.
This is not most of your life.
Yeah.
But that's where we are now. Great. I'm applauding it. But like in the places where people write, New York, LA, Washington, they don't actually see it. They're writing about and imagine racism.
Right, but they practice
think that the deplorables are doing in the part of the country they never actually see.
Right.
And sometimes, and there is some of that.
Right.
There is some of that still. There is a residual, but it's not, it's probably older and fading and not controlling.
It's better. Like part of my career was fighting the conception that blacks couldn't be as good as writers as whites, So like a white writer could be on a black show, but a black writer could never be on a white show.
Right.
So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to create TV shows, Bill, so I could open up those opportunities and prove.
And you did.
Yeah, when I created the Bernie Mac show, it was a conversation of a friend of mine had. They said, Larry, how come there's no black Seinfeld? And I said, because you haven't written it yet. And then I went, oh shit, I haven't written it yet. But what she meant was a black show that's considered smart and not just funny. Because white shows were considered the good white shows. There's a lot of Drek and stuff. But a show like Seinfeld was not just funny; it was considered smart. And black shows never had that considered smart element to it.
Bernie Mac was.
But I broke through with that. To do that,
well,
it was considered smart.
I have to say, Bernie Mac was just a genius performer.
He really was.
Like, he kind of like the Black Jack Benny to me. Because he was just like so under, like the least little, and it worked so well that.
That's just a great analogy.
Yeah, he was just a minimalist.
Absolutely.
Like,
his ability to emote.
Yeah, with just a few words and a look and, and just...
And he had one of those abilities where he could say the most offensive things and get away with it, you know? Like he said, I believe you should be able to hit a child in the stomach or the throat. Or the throat. I mean, who says you should be able to hit a kid in the throat?
But I don't imagine you gave him many long speeches.
No. We had
because he just did everything so compact.
No, he was great. And I always said, Bernie, this is just the script. If you want to change this, then do it. But we talked very much about the content of it, you know. And I just wanted to make sure we knew, if we both knew what the scene was about, you can change the words because we know what the scene's about.
Right.
You know? So that's how we approached it. But he was so good. He would do the lines too, but he had such a great sense of what the scene was and that sort of thing. So our conversations were very short.
Remember him in Bad Santa?
Oh, yeah. It's hilarious. Yeah.
Oh, my God. Really, that is a genius comedy portrayal. I mean...
Yeah, Bernie's memes, he has memes for a reason because his face was so expressive.
Right.
You know, just the way he would look at something.
And what is it that took him so young?
Sarcoidosis. It was an autoimmune disease. He actually died, I think, of pneumonia, but it was the autoimmune disease. I think he got pneumonia twice in the hospital.
Why did he have an autoimmune disease?
It's something... It's this particular one, many Black people get it for some reason, kind of like lupus and that sort of thing. It's one of those things. It's not sickle cell anemia, not related to that. But it just happens to be one of those things, like certain cultures are just predisposed just from it being passed down over the years to get certain things. You know, go figure.
Yeah, well, or it could also be the food.
I don't know. I mean, who knows? Could be. Who knows? Yeah,
well,
who knows?
That's always what I say about all medical issues. Who knows?
Right.
Not that they don't know more than they used to. Right. They just don't know much. And so let 1,000 flowers bloom. Right. Don't cut me off from any medical theory. I know you think some of it is crackpot.
Right.
But so many times we've learned that what you were doing was crackpot.
Right.
And what someone thought was crackpot turned out to be not the crackpot.
Right.
So let's just hear everything.
Yeah.
Don't stop me from hearing everything.
I agree with you. You know, I've heard you talk about this subject a lot.
Yeah.
And I agree with you in the big picture because it's funny, Bill. Medicine and astronomy are the two most changing subjects that we've had forever. The Earth is flat. You know? Fuck you, you know. The sun revolves around the Earth. You know, you are excommunicated from the church. You know, a leech should be put on yourself to get the blood out of your system.
I know.
It's like medicine and astronomy. It keeps proving itself wrong.
You don't even have to go back that far.
Right.
15 years ago, they were telling us to eat trans fats.
Yeah.
Which now are illegal. So the thing, then that was like, I can't believe it's not butter, oleo. It was this fake, but now they found out.
Fat was the enemy, but meanwhile they're pumping us with sugar.
This was a certain type of fat.
Right.
That they, again, this is this century.
Right, exactly.
We're saying, get this shit in you.
Right.
And then when, whoops, it's so crazy. Bad that we pulled it off the shelves.
The U-turns in the 20th century alone.
Don't tell me.
I mean, Bill, the icon of healthy food at one point was Tony the fucking Tiger. You know? It's great. I mean, he was speaking to kids about pumping all that sugar in your body first thing in the morning.
Did you see Seinfeld's Pop-Tart movie?
Oh, yeah, on Frosted.
It's a fucking scream.
Yeah, there's a lot of funny stuff.
It's so funny. I mean, I heard these things like, oh, what is this movie? People were like, what the fuck is this? And then it was so, I mean, it was so adeptly paced.
Yeah.
You know, it just went from one...
It's kind of old-fashioned in a fun way.
Very 60s. I mean, about the 60s, but also invoked a kind of a filmmaking style.
A little bit of Preston Sturges in some ways.
Yes.
You know? A little bit of that.
But which they had totally revived in the 60s.
And a little bit of sex. Yes, and a little bit of sex. Yes. Preston Sturges had that kind of snappy style where you could barely rest and something funny was coming along, you know. But it was also highbrow. It was sophisticated.
You know what?
But he wasn't afraid to knock you in the knees, too, you know.
Like, what's a great Preston Sturges movie? I'll
tell you right now, my favorite, The Lady Eve.
The Lady Eve.
Watch The Lady Eve, because Barbara Stanwyck is irresistible in it.
Really?
And Henry Fonda is so great, because Henry Fonda
is
just awesome.
And Barbara Stanwyck.
It is an amazing cast, and there's characters in it that are funny. But their love affair is so great, you know, and it's classic Preston Sturges. It's just this, that.
I'm a little fuzzy. I know Barbara Stanwyck. I used to use her name in a punchline.
Yeah.
Was she a hottie of her day?
Was she a hottie? Oh my God.
Really?
Oh my God, Bill. Watch The Lady Eve. You'll go.
You're saying I'll get a
yes. I mean, you
century later boner from
yes, exactly.
Stanwyck.
Better later than never. I mean, Hugh Hefner had those century boners. Right?
I used to do a bit. I love that bit about how I can't masturbate, and it came from the truth about something that I couldn't actually be doing. Like if I saw a movie that took place in the Middle Ages,
right?
I couldn't masturbate about the serving wench because I'm not in the Middle Ages. Even if it was like a James Bond movie, I can kind of transfer that to like, oh, okay, I'm not James Bond, but I'm playing
Bill,
playing the casino.
So many rules to your masturbation.
Well, there had to be a thread back to reality.
Right.
To this day, like there has to be a thread back to that could actually happen.
Right.
It might be a little unlikely, but the Middle Ages, that's impossible.
I agree. You know, I always say this is kind of on the same subject, like when people talk about time travel, if you could go back to the Middle Ages or these things, I always feel like people never factor in the smell. They never do. You know?
Well,
they never do. Like the world smelled horrible in the past, Bill.
Many
horrible.
Things. They didn't
choose any period. It smelled horrible.
Seth MacFarlane made a really great movie about that concept called A Million Ways to Die in the West. And that was the idea that I never said it. Oh, it's really good. And it's about that idea that it's easy to romanticize the past, but if you really lived in the West where a splinter could kill you.
Right, exactly.
And there was a million ways
so
to die.
many things that could kill you.
That's funny. These kids
funny.
It's a great premise. Yeah. These kids today, I literally said these kids today, but it's so true. They have no perspective about the time that they live in and how fortunate they actually are in almost every way. If you measure it, now if you're just feeling angst, okay, but if you actually looked shit up, read Steven Pinker on this. He's the one who's feel like covers this the best. And you know, we can measure this shit. We know shit, for example. It was only 20 years ago where like 1 billion people shit in the street in the world. And we've really cut that down.
Bill,
the
automobile was a green alternative to horses.
Right.
It was a green alternative because of all that shit that was in the streets and the disease. And the disease and the flies and all. The automobile was a green alternative.
You're right. Horse shit must have been a terrible thing.
That's why shoe shine boys are so popular back then. Let me get that shit off your shoes, sir.
Right. Wow.
Such a big deal.
That. Yeah.
Spats. Remember those spats and all that stuff? That was from shit. You know, you won't get that stuff on your shoes.
Wow. Wow, that's heavy.
It's a stinky. Bill, all I'm saying is the world was stinky, and people should know this. People should know how stinky the world was.
I tell you, I don't think I've changed since I was 18 with like talking to a funny guy.
I love it.
It's like, it just never gets old.
You know, it's funny. I've been watching. I agree with you, and thanks again for having me, man. It's so awesome for me, you know. But
are you leaving?
No. You were talking about. No, I'll stay as long as I can.
Okay.
But you were talking about Seinfeld, and I don't like all the reevaluation of Jerry, you know, because Jerry's a fucking
genius.
Fucking genius. Who a lot of comedians owe their careers to somebody like Jerry Seinfeld. He thought of comedy differently than anybody when we hit. We know how much of a star. He was a star in comedy clubs way before people knew who he was.
I was there at the beginning.
Bill, right? Way before people knew who he was.
I know, but I had the privilege of being one of the people who, like, you know, saw him every night.
Yes.
Because that was our life back then. He was a little ahead of me, like, years-wise. But, like, when I first, I've told this before, but when I auditioned at I auditioned at 3 clubs. Catch a Rising Star, the Improv, and the Comic Strip. The person who passed me, you know, the MC decided you could hang out as you could be a neophyte comic, was Jerry at the comic strip, and Larry at the Improv.
Yeah.
So
Jerry did a joke back then, still one of my all-time favorite jokes. This is like 1978, where he said, I was just at the Smithsonian, you know, and I saw they had, do you know this joke?
No.
He says, and I'm doing a terrible joke. He said, they had Neil Armstrong's toothbrush, you know?
I do remember this.
And it said, on loan to the Smithsonian.
I do remember this,
And I'm like, on loan. I'm like, Neil, give them the toothbrush. You know? And I'm like, that is hilarious. I mean, who thinks of that, you know? Neil, give them the toothbrush. You know? That's one of the best punchlines.
Yeah, oh no,
because it's not traditional. It's all point of view, you know? But anyhow, my point was like, I don't like that kind of stuff, but I also love when Jerry said the thing that makes him the most happy is hanging with another comic and just shooting the shit. And he's right, because there's a bond there, and this is back to the John and Paul thing. There's a fucking bond there that we love.
It is.
You know, of the deconstructing shit and talking shit about stuff.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, I would, look, I'm not going to lie. It is not above in my pantheon like A Beautiful Woman. Sorry.
We're not crazy here.
But take that electric element out of it that, you know, this is completely cerebral, where the other thing can be cerebral, and
serves both purposes.
And also sexy at the same time.
North America and South America.
I mean, you can't compete with that.
Both.
Nothing can. There's nothing in the world like A Beautiful Woman is also very smart.
Right.
You know, I mean, but you can't get that every night. So this is just a great... No, this is, it's just... I've heard, I think we're thinking of the same interview I think he did with Barry Weiss the other day.
Oh, that was brilliant.
It was so great.
It was brilliant. Weird, and to see Jerry unguarded like that.
Emotional.
Talking, but I've never seen that.
I was
never
amazed because... he is the, you know, it's him and Leno who did that, used to do that character Iron J.
Yes.
You know, and I just, to this day, I call him Iron J. Hey, Iron J, because he really is iron.
That's hilarious.
And Jerry's kind of the same way. I mean, they're very bulletproof, so.
People are forgetting about Jay, too, by the way. That's another one. They've forgotten the brilliance of Jay Leno.
I haven't.
Yeah.
They've told me I talk about him too much on this podcast.
No, Jay, and also
I love him.
Jay doesn't get credit. You know me, I give people props. My brother wrote for Jay in his show for a while.
Oh, really?
And he had to have a kidney release. And man, Jay was first to help him out and try to find somebody. Mike Ovitz, too, CAA. You know, he helped my brother out.
There's a few people like that who are like genuinely. Sean Penn is another one like that.
Yeah.
He's genuinely like a man of action. Like and Jay is the same way. He genuinely is that
required
guy.
No thanks, Bill. He required. He required nothing. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Jay, I am this forever. You know?
No, they're very superheroish.
Yeah.
I don't think they need. I know Jay doesn't need a lot of sleep.
Yeah.
And they're just much more about, you know, all that stuff. I mean, I help out where I can, but I just don't. I'm just not the superhero type.
But
you know, I'm the sit around and get stoned type.
But
I can't help that.
I ain't managing.
No.
But Jay gets knocked because when he's not hosting a show, he can come in and, you know, just bam, 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 because he's been doing these jokes in the club act and be on Letterman and do that. But when you're hosting a show, Bill, you know how it is. You have to do a show every fucking night.
Larry,
you're not the same. It's not the same as guesting on a show.
Absolutely.
And you've curated shit over the past 6 months, and you're coming in and killing it. You know?
There's a very few people who will understand this, but having done a show like that, you were one of them on this level. But during the strike of 2007, Jay wrote his own monologue.
Yeah, I remember.
And none of other of us could do that. Maybe you could, I don't know. I couldn't. I'm going to say that right here and now.
Yeah.
I came up with a monologue once a week. But that's not, I mean,
it's not easy.
I tweak every monologue joke, but writing them, that's not my baby on the show.
Right.
I think I'm great at picking the great ones, but they write them. The end of the show, that monologue, that's me.
Well, that's point of view.
I mean, that's point of view, and they, of course, are instrumental in how good it comes out, I think, because jokes but the ideas and the force behind it, the idea force behind it is usually from me. It's what I want to say about this subject.
That's more about voice.
And I will give them a template of how to do it. And, you know, thank God I have them because it wouldn't nearly be the same.
Yeah.
But, but only Jay could have written his own fucking whole, like, it didn't look that different than when he had 20 writers.
The volume of jokes, too. Jay didn't just do 5 jokes in a monologue. The volume, nobody did as many jokes in a monologue as Jay. It's crazy how many he did. He would do like 15 minutes? Like Carson did 4 or 5, you know. If you go back and look at the Carsons, his monologue was not very long.
And 6 of it was him dancing when the joke fucking bombed. And they played tea.
May your mother's...
May a diseased yak.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, he's a workhorse, man.
Oh, unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean...
So I get a little salty when people have revisionist history about people who we know to be the titans. You know, we're not just talking funny, we're talking titans.
Right.
They open the door for all these comics who have an opinion now about who's funny and who's not, you know. That's where, I'm not on a high horse about it, but I just like to check that, you know.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, where the talk world went was the definition of, you know, the Andy Warhol.
15 minutes.
Yes. Everybody, I mean, right now there are probably 50,000 other people doing a podcast.
Right, I know. It's so true.
It's
so
like
true.
if when Johnny Carson was on, he was up against Merv Griffin, Dick Cavett, and 4 million other people.
I know. It's so true.
Doing...
And they had good shows, too.
They do?
You know, Cavett and Merv Griffin.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were just different, and they couldn't survive against Johnny, ultimately.
I was too young to do the Cavett show, but I did Merv Griffin when I started, when he was out here. And he did 3 shows.
Well, his late night show that was on in the 60s, I don't remember it then, but I've looked at it now, you know, recently.
Merv?
It was brilliant.
Merv?
Yes.
Was brilliant?
I'm telling you.
Because?
His show...
He didn't even do a comedy monologue,
did he?
Was
Merv or Mike Douglas? Which one am I thinking of?
They're both corny.
No, but I'm telling you, and I hope I'm not messing up. I'm pretty sure it is Merv, though, where he had this was like Richard Pryor cut his teeth on this show, did a lot of these.
We all did. I was about to tell you.
But this is before the afternoon show. That's what I'm saying. This
no,
was his
it wasn't in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Merv was never in the afternoon. They taped it in the afternoon. I'm saying Merv was this very lovely gay gentleman.
Oh, that's good.
Ooh, right. Rick Moranis.
Rick Moranis.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's good.
Let me see the line.
Ooh.
And he was a sweet guy, and they would tape at 3:30, 4:30, and 5:30.
Right.
And if you got the 3:30 shot, it was like all these old ladies, they bust in from Hollywood Boulevard.
Right.
And there I am, 26-year-old.
Exactly. Right. Being all snarky.
Oh, he's a funny young guy.
Right.
Wilmore, he's a
Kippadata, everybody.
Yeah, exactly. And then you talk to him for a couple of minutes, and I mean, it was cutting your teeth.
Yeah.
It was painful.
Yeah.
And you got through it, and you know, I remember keeping a log of all the jokes I did on Merv, so I knew what you know I did on Johnny and all the different shows.
Those shows were so innocent. Remember that show, Make Me Laugh?
Of course.
I mean, it was fun seeing all the comics on shows like that, you know, because there weren't as many outlets for that type of thing. And to see them on that show, the premise of that show, I thought was always a good premise.
There was one show.
It's kind of bizarre, though, too.
Some of them were so low budget. Evening at the Improv. There was one show.
I did all of them.
You did that?
Oh, yeah, I did all of them, yeah.
Yeah, I did. There was one, it might have been Make Me Laugh, where they were so cheap that, they cut, you did a set, but they, put commercials in between. And they wouldn't even, they would just cut it at 3 minutes, 6 minutes.
That may have been Norm Crosby's Comedy Shop.
Maybe that's what it was. So you'd be in the middle of a war.
Yes, exactly.
And I tell you something about pirates.
Yes, exactly.
How cheap can you be?
Hey, we came back, he turned into Steve Bluestein. What happened?
Yeah, Steve Bluestein. Wow.
Those were the shows, man. It was so much fun.
What comedy club did you?
I started here in the West Coast.
Where?
But I mainly did. I did the Improv. I didn't do the Comedy Store. I auditioned a couple of times. I just never fit in over there. So I was an improv
I didn't
guy.
fit in at the Comedy Store.
You know, I think she had a type that she liked or whatever.
It wasn't me.
It wasn't me either.
Yeah.
It wasn't me either. Yeah.
No, you know when you're welcome.
You know it immediately.
And when you're not.
Right,
Which is fine. You know, I was very welcome at the Improv.
Me too, yeah.
That felt like home.
And I ended up liking that style of comedian that were more at the Improv than I did at the Comedy Store. Nothing against those guys.
No.
Because the Comedy Store, you know what it had?
More showy.
Yeah, and big names, too, that would splash in there. I used to sneak into these places, by the way, or sit in the back. And I remember once, I did the open mic night, I think, but I was underage. I was like 18 or 19. Wow. This was like 1979 or something like that. And I was in the original room, and this guy goes, excuse me, walks by me, and it's fucking Richard Pryor. And I'm like, oh, shit.
Wow.
Richard Pryor. And I got to see him do a set in the belly room,
really?
You know? And he's just working on stuff, not a lot of laughs.
Right.
Working it out, you know?
Right.
And I was like, oh, shit. And then I went from there, and I went into the main room, you know, walking in after he was done, and Letterman is emceeing.
Wow.
Letterman, you know, his MC. And I remember Jim J. Bullock. Remember Jim J. Bullock?
Of course.
I mean, he would kill in those days.
Really?
People don't remember him now. Well, he had all this energy.
It was a gay thing, right?
Yeah, but it was all that energy
He was
on
on Hollywood Squares.
Hollywood Squares, and he did Too Close for Comfort, I think was his big thing with, what's his name from Mary Tyler Moore Show. But he was really hot at that moment, I remember.
Right.
I remember seeing Jim Carrey in there when he was first starting out. People like that.
Jim Carrey,
Sam Kinison.
Who would do impressions just of the face.
Yeah, exactly.
He could make his face look like somebody and not have to say a word.
My brother used to do that.
He's a special kind of
talent.
talent.
My brother did a Milton Berle face. He would go. He would do something like that. Like, I can't do it.
No, you can't.
But he would just do his face like Milton Berle. And I was like, how do you do that?
I don't know. There are certain things people do in show business that just make me go, wow. I mean, I can't do improv, or I wouldn't want to try.
You know, it's funny. I was listening to you talk about Belzer, and it just made me think, because of what you were talking about, well, let me say it like this. I went down a rabbit hole to look at the early Saturday Night Live again, because I realized I missed a lot of them.
You go down a lot of rabbit holes.
I know, I go down a lot of rabbit holes.
Do you?
But I do, I go down a lot of, well, I love history right now, so I'm doing a lot of history rabbit holes.
But are you one of those people who, like, when you're...
Yeah. I know you're going to say.
I didn't even say it.
No, I
like you're looking at YouTube and then...
I'll tell you what it is.
I never do.
I'll tell you my first one. When I was a kid, I read a book on Houdini, and then I had to read every book on Houdini. I had to learn everything I knew about
that
Houdini.
guy.
So, and then it happened with Buster Keaton. I fell in love with Buster Keaton.
Wow.
And a friend of mine had a 16mm projector, and he would screen the movies.
Wow.
All his shorts. And so I got to see Keaton just, you know, have that experience. And so I knew everything you could know about Buster Keaton. Then it was the Marx Brothers. And then it was the Beatles. And the Beatles happened for me after John Lennon died. You know?
You feel like any of this found its way into your writing?
Well, you know what it is? I like observing, like at that time, I was fascinated with what made people big. I was fascinated with that, you know, and it just fascinated me. I said, why is this a thing? You know, like with the Beatles, I remember I knew who the Beatles were. They were in the background, but it wasn't like a thing for me growing up, you know. My parents weren't into that either.
Right.
You know, like the Atlantic recordings were more like what was in my house. That type of
the
stuff.
Beatles angel passed over the black community.
It did a lot of,
not because of them.
No, not because of them, but some songs stood out that I remember.
Well,
you know,
it just wasn't.
It just wasn't a thing.
It wasn't the year yet. It just wasn't. It was pre-civil. It was pre-America as a multicultural society.
It just wasn't a thing. So
it was still an apartheid society, basically.
Yeah, in many ways. Right.
So black kids just didn't go to Beatles concerts. They wouldn't have thought that they could.
It just wasn't the thing. It just wasn't.
Probably they were seeing it a little corny.
Right. Completely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
They weren't James Brown.
Right, but although the Beatles always gave props to the black artists who inspired them, they always did.
And they also had a lot of soul. You don't have to be black to have soul. The Beatles proved that in many other groups.
I mean, You Really Got a Hold of Me was one that they did. That was
yes.
They did a really great version of that. You know, Smokey Robinson.
And their own shit.
Right.
I mean, they have lots of soulful songs.
So I remember, yeah, absolutely. Maybe I'm Amazed is like a great song.
That's not them. That's
McCartney. But you know what I mean? It's Paul. Yeah. But anyhow, my brother had. It might have been an 8-track, I don't remember, of the Beatles live at the Hollywood Bowl. This is after Lennon died, you know. And I was listening to it, and Bill the Screams took me made me do it like this. And I was like, what the fuck?
I know.
Because it's one thing to have the music playing, but to go back to the experience of them took me. And I was like, what is going on here?
When they called it Beatlemania, they were not exaggerating.
Right.
Even at 8 years old when it happened, I kind of understood. I didn't have anything to compare it to, but I kind of even got it then that there was something going on with this that was outrageous.
Well, this goes back to our earlier conversation, because since, you know, I have to be the historian because I went down the rabbit hole.
I love historians.
So the Beatles hit at exactly the right time, Bill, because a lot of these things...
After the Kennedy assassination.
After the Kennedy assassination, because they had the chance to hit before that, as you know. Their singles came out here and didn't do anything. It didn't resonate.
All of 1963.
That's exactly right.
All those singles flopped.
Our president gets assassinated. It breaks the heart of the country, right?
Right, and they needed some
And the youth,
yes,
if anything, was a transition time for youth in America also. That's the other thing that was going on. And a lot of the folk music, it was coming out in there, but it hadn't really come out in popular music yet. The revolution that was happening. Popular music hadn't done it yet. You know, folk music had done it, but not popular music. So Dylan was a big thing, but, you know, that was more for older eggheads, college students. Right. So the joy that was in that singing, the joy that was in it, you know, the joy in those harmonies was what connected with people, you know. Yeah,
there's amazing energy and you know, the love they had for each other translated and all that. And it was new in the hair. Exactly. But there's somebody who, as you know, people have said this theory before, who had a twist on this that will amuse you, since you said this.
They killed Kennedy?
He said, you know who killed Kennedy?
Oh, I wasn't there.
Yeah. He said, look who had the most to gain, Brian Epstein.
That's hilarious. I love that. By the way, I can swat down any of those assassination theories, but that's hilarious. That's hilarious. So funny.
Isn't it?
I love that.
I can't remember who said
that. That actually makes sense.
It makes sense. I mean, it's not true, but it makes sense. But yeah, they did benefit from that. And also, you know, I Want to Hold Your Hand was a catchy record.
And like Elvis, it had black roots in that record too.
All of them do.
You know? Yes.
All of them.
That hand cry.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Chuck Berry was John Lennon's. He stole Come Together directly from Chuck Berry. He didn't even change the line. Here come all flat. I mean, Jesus.
Even Paul said, maybe you should slow it down, you know, because
yes, they did.
Just like it. You know,
I mean, I mean, look, again, John Lennon on my ultimate pantheon. But, you know, Paul McCartney is a musical genius.
He is.
Nobody is quite on his level.
Not quite.
And John, I'm sure, knew that.
Yeah, he was jealous.
He was jealous a little bit. Well, he just couldn't keep up quite in the competition. And that's a good example of like, you know, and I think as the years went by, like his genius was in the first half of the Beatles' life.
I agree.
He was the spirit of the band. He was the leader of the gang that became a band.
Yeah.
And it was early rock and roll and their early sound, which was fantastic in its own way. But in the second half, first of all, he was on drugs, and then he was with Yoko.
The heroin.
And he was lazy by his own admission. And he
only sleeping. Right?
And Brian and right, exactly.
I'm so tired. Yes. Like how many songs where he's giving us clues, Bill. And then everything else is gobbledygook.
Right, gobbledygook. I always say that about their lyrics.
I don't have time for lyrics.
No, exactly. It's funny. I've used that same
John,
word.
you couldn't write a real lyric.
Right. He was lazy by his own admission, and he was kind of over the, like, I conquered the world. What the fuck do you want from me? Right. And I'm looking for something more. It happens to be Yoko Ono. No, she's cool. Okay, so... But in that second half, I mean, Paul, I think, really took over.
He did.
And even with John's songs like that one, he was kind of important to make it happen. Not that John, I mean, Revolution could be my all-time favorite if I had to name one Beatles song, the fast version of Revolution, and that's a John Lennon song.
And here's the thing, to prove your point. It's the B-side to Hey Jude.
I always say that.
It's the B-side to Hey Jude.
That's my theory as to why they...
Hey Jude, bitches, how about that?
Well, that's my theory. It's been in the paper. I've said it before about why they broke up was they prized singles, and John kept getting the B-side. Strawberry Fields is the B-side of Penny Lane. There's a number of... Rain is the B-side...
Paperback Writer.
Of Paperback Writer. Right.
And Rain is brilliant, too.
Let It Be was the B-side. They had like...
Let It Be is the A-side.
I mean, the A-side.
Yeah, and the Ballad of John and Yoko.
No. That was its own single.
Oh, that was his own, okay.
And that's another example of how John and Paul, it was still the love affair. They recorded that in May of 1969, after he got back from his honeymoon.
Right.
And they were
Ballad of John and Yoko, yeah.
They're the only ones on the record. John and Paul, Ringo and George were out of the country.
Yeah, good old-fashioned man-on-man love.
And man-on-man love. And Paul played drums, and John played guitar, and, you know.
I love that song, it's just John's diary of what happened. Like, there's no songwriting in it at all.
But at least, apropos of gobbledygook, the lyrics make sense. Yeah. It's a story.
Right, exactly.
I think the lyrics are great to that song.
Yeah.
But gobbledygook, it's funny.
Next thing you know, They're Gonna Crucify Me is a great lyric.
Yeah. It is. Yeah. And they banned it.
The way things are going, They're Gonna Crucify Me.
They banned it. You know, they couldn't play it because he said, Jesus Christ.
Right.
Christ, you know it ain't easy.
Well, that's him also saying, fuck you to all that. Remember when they wanted to burn the Beatle records because of the Jesus comment? I think John, he didn't forget shit, you know.
Oh,
and I think that's a callback, you know.
Oh, I never heard that, but that's interesting.
Yeah,
right?
Till that's like, okay, fuck you, I'm doubling down, you know.
That was like the first cancellation.
Yeah.
When he said, we're more popular than Jesus Christ. And then they're on tour, and there's that great tape. We still have it. It's in the anthology of him at a press conference. And you could just tell he's had it up to here with having to explain himself.
I know.
Yeah. I never said we were better or greater than Jesus Christ or a person or a thing or whatever it is. I just said what I said, and it was wrong, or it's been taken wrong, and now it's all this.
That's great, yeah.
And it's just like...
And then by the time...
That was cancellation.
Yeah, by the time... And he still had that attitude when they were announcing Apple. Like, it's supposed to be this...
I love that.
It's supposed to be this happy thing, but John can't take the questions, you know.
No, he's got a sour look on his face. And he says, we're starting a company, so someone who just has an idea for a film or a record or a tape or something doesn't have to sit on his knees in someone's office. Probably yours.
Probably yours. Yeah.
How awesome is that?
Probably yours.
With never breaking it.
It's like, we were just asking you what it does.
Never breaking character, never smiling, no wink at the end, and compare that to like 1964, landing the press conference at the airport where they're these giddy young kids. Oh, we're in America, and it's great, and you all love us, and what you're asking us questions. If I had a haircut, I had one yesterday.
Can you sing? No, we need money first.
Well, we need money first. And just a few years later, and it's this sour, stone-faced, cynical, like what the world did to them. I mean, Beatlemania.
Well, that's an example of like how fame can really fuck you up too. You know, because a lot of their experience, and I think Paul talks about this, was a hotel, another hotel, stage, and
where they didn't even have their own room.
Yeah, they couldn't see any of the places they went to. You know,
I know, but not your own room.
I know.
You're the biggest act in the world, and you have to share a bunk with George.
And they would sneak in women too. You know,
they would.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
They must have.
Oh, they absolutely did.
I hope they did.
Oh yeah, they did. They didn't talk about it a lot because John was married.
Right.
You know, so
they must have.
And in those days, things were kept hush-hush more, those types of things, you know. But they absolutely did that.
I hope so.
Yeah.
They certainly have kept that mum then.
Yeah. So I'll do my quick Beatle impression for you, okay?
Whoa.
So because the way I've broken it down is by where it exists in my head, okay? So, and these are the young Beatles. So like, Paul, you know, he's up here, you know, he's up here. You know, who knows? You know, he's down there. I mean, who knows? I mean, you know, we might be gone by the time it's there. I mean, who knows? You know, and then when you get to John, it goes to the nose, you know. It's more like that. This is John speaking with his voice, you know. Hello, you know, and then George used the whole mouth. Well, who knows? I mean, I can play it if you want me to, Paul, or I cannot play it. I can do whatever you want. But you have to, it's in your mouth when you do George. And then Ringo goes back to Hello, lads. This is Ringo's story.
You're right.
It's all in different parts.
Hysterical.
All you have to do is shift the part of your head that the voice belongs in.
That is
So you can go from Paul to Ringo right there. Hello, lads. Yeah. So anyhow, that's my little...
You gotta make a thing out of that. Yeah, a meme or I don't know.
Yeah, but it's fun. I love just going down those types of things. But Beatles were different than all those others because there was something about it.
Who are your other musical icon? Who's on your pantheon? Like, for me, Beatles, of course, are probably at the top.
Beatles came later. Like, when I was growing up, there were a couple of people. I think the first music that meant something to me was probably Marvin Gaye.
I love Marvin Gaye.
What's going on? It's the music of my soul, Bill. It's the best way I could put it, you know.
If you were going to ask me, like, who's in my pantheon, I was going to mention him.
It's Marvin Gaye's up near the top. In fact, Apple just did that.
And somewhat underrated because
completely
he certainly had his hits.
Right.
You know, heard it through the grapevine and what's going on.
And he used to perform with other artists like Tammy Terrell and that type of thing, too. You know?
But, like, to do a song about the ecology in 1970.
Barry Gordy was against it.
In the black community?
Barry Gordy was against it.
I'm sure.
Yeah, he didn't want him to do it. Because Motown was so clean and antiseptic back then.
No, but not in 1970 because Supremes had broken through that.
Yeah.
Do I have from the Supremes album? Is that awesome? When they put out Love Child, that was a groundbreaking record.
That's right.
Because Barry Gordy always wanted to keep it just like, let's not offend the white record buyer.
That's exactly right.
Let's just keep it to men and women. That transcends racial lines.
That's right.
Every girl knows what it's like to be, you know, hearing a symphony or
stop in the name
or stopping
of
in the name
love.
of love or you know, what's the one where you just keep me hanging on.
Yeah, and they had some great songs.
Yeah. Oh, so great. But when they met, I don't remember how it came about but I'm sure it took a lot of lobbying. He put out Love Child, and it was huge.
Yeah.
And then they put out a successor, Living in Shame. Do you remember that
one?
Right,
yeah.
Which was kind of Love Child Part 2.
Right, exactly.
You could tell it was like, oh, this is what the kids are into now. Now we're living in shame. Okay, first we had a love child. But that's where we get the word love child, which they used to call a bastard.
Yeah, that's right.
Love child.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And never meant to be.
And Nina Simone, who wasn't on that label, she had her own lane during that time and had some controversial things that, and even for her, were out there, you know. So she was like the leader in doing that type of thing, you know. What was it, Mississippi thing? What was that song? That was one that was, whew, man.
Why?
I can't remember the title of the song. But Marvin Gaye, like, back to your question, like, he was the one. The other one that, I was looking at that Apple list. Did you see that, of the 100 best albums?
No.
Okay, they put out a list, and there's some, like Sgt. Pepper's not even on the list, which is ridiculous. But
really? Not on the list?
Here's who's not on the list that I could not understand, is Earth, Wind & Fire. It's like, how can Earth, Wind & Fire had a sound all to their own. And they had the one album, The Way of the World. That's The Way of the World. There's so many great songs on there, from Shining Star to Reasons to...
Oh, Shining Star, right.
Oh, it was great. It was like...
okay, I'll have to give...
And Stevie Wonder. Those were my three in the 70s.
Well, Stevie Wonder.
Those are my three in the 70s.
Just what a composer.
Yeah.
I mean, when he was cooking... that 10 years, I mean, there was nobody writing music like that.
The best.
And it was, it defied easy categorization.
He was an original.
It was in every genre.
Yeah.
I mean.
No, and it's still listenable, Bill. That's the thing about great music. You can go back, if you can listen to it and it still sounds fresh, as opposed to, oh yeah, that's what they listened to then, you know. But if it still sounds, oh shit, this is good.
I mean, All in Love is Fair.
Yeah.
Streisand did it. And did it great, of course. But either version, it's like, what? I mean, that kind of songs, that's...
Good stuff is good stuff. As Carson, that's good stuff.
That is good stuff. Now a word from Alpo.
Exactly. The Alpo, that's right.
All right, well, I probably should do you have anything to plug?
You know,
you have a new show? You always have a show.
I'm happy to be here. I have a show called Reasonable Doubt. I'm producing with Kerry Washington. On Hulu? Yeah. Kerry and I are the exec producers of it. It was something that was loosely based on Sean Hawley, who was actually part of the OJ trial. She's a great lawyer here in Los Angeles, and it's loosely based on Sean. And we're in our second season. We just finished shooting it. And it premieres, second season premieres in August. And it's really a fun show. Rama Muhammad, I have to give her props. She's our showrunner. She's so good. She's just so good. And it's just a great cast, too.
And
so
when you say executive producer, so you're kind of like
overseeing exactly. And I love doing that type of thing, especially, you know.
Oh, I'll bet.
It's not the heavy lifting, but
you earned it.
Yeah, it's a heavy overseeing.
You earned it.
You know, I knew I'd be an overseer at some point, Bill. See, you get that. Thank you very much, folks. If I can be an overseer.
Another thing you can say and I can't.
There you go.
Okay.
There you go.
Who says there's no reparation?
No, exactly. I'm an overseer. Thank you very much. Thanks, universe. You did it right, universe. You did it right.
In your normal seat over there?
Hello, Billy.
It's becoming a habit, I'm glad to say.
I'm so glad to see you.
We're like co-hosts.
I've been watching your show as much as I can.
As much as you can.
Well,
what's preventing you? What happens during the week when you
like
can't?
making a living. And
oh, right. You travel with, you haven't...
I travel so much.
Right. You have your Netflix show.
I have The Unexplained.
You know what it reminds me of? I mean, you're perfect for that and many things, but remember Peter Graves?
Yeah.
Had that show where he kind of did a...
Yeah. Everybody's done one over the years.
Well, it takes a certain gravitas to do a show, to be the host of a show like that.
And you have to be... I've discovered the way of narrating it, because they give me... do a cold read, really. I don't want to see it until it's time to record it. And then I'll do a cold read and enjoy the story like you would enjoy. Hopefully, you would enjoy seeing it. So I'll do it twice. But the first one is the one I bank on.
What do you think when you see like Shatner impressionists who do the, you know? I mean, it's like
I'm gonna tell you the funniest thing about that I've ever had. I mean, I'd say to my wife, "Is that me?" So Chatbox, okay. So you could tell Chatbox, write me a story in the way of Edgar Allan Poe, and the whatever it is,
sure.
And it says on a dank morning with a cloud overhanging,
right?
And it gives you what's what. So I said to it, write me this story of having an interview with Bill Maher. Write me the story in a Shatner way. and this story comes out on the day, morning on the foot. It didn't write it like the way I write. It just wrote it the way it thinks I talk. And I don't talk that way.
No, not at all. But it's, you know why that is?
I fell down.
You know what happens with famous people like you and impressionists is that somebody does... Like the first guy who does an impression. Like, do you remember Will Jordan's Ed Sullivan?
Did everybody. He did everybody.
Yeah, but he did Ed Sullivan first. And then everybody did Will Jordan's Ed Sullivan.
Oh, right.
So, like, it becomes...
The way of doing it.
It becomes
an impression of an impression.
Of an impression.
Right. I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah. But at home, you don't actually, like during sex, you don't be like, honey, I'm coming now. I mean, that's not...
No.
That wouldn't sound like you during sex, would it?
Well, if I was excited. I don't remember.
Scratch my balls. You know, that's not...
Really? I should have said that.
Well, it's good to have you back.
Well, it's a delight to be here. And this night of all nights, the day after.
A post-election, yeah. You know, I feel like it's, for some people, it's very reminiscent of 2016. I certainly was much more apoplectic then. Perhaps I should be again.
Did you see it coming?
No, I picked her. I stuck with my prediction right to the end. I thought she was going to win. I thought America generally moves forward and that they had enough of Trump, you know, just drama. And I mean, I won't go into... first of all, Bill, it's depressing to me mostly because I don't want to do it again because I'm bored. The worst thing you can do to me is bore me. I've done all the jokes. I did all them first. I did Trump the con man editorial. I did Trump the mafia boss. I did it all. before anybody. I'm the one who said he wasn't going to concede when nobody was on that page. I've been there, done that. I don't want this series. I've seen this series. I want a new show with new characters. So that bugs me the most, is that there's nothing left to say. You know, I've said it all. You can't get me to think more than I already do that Trump shouldn't be president.
Well, what we now have to think about is how to mitigate some of what some of us think are the worst things. Like,
well, I think first is congratulations. You not only won, you won big.
He won big.
Everybody should get props just for success, despite the vulgarities and
maybe because of the vulgarities.
Maybe because, but also my mantra: losers look in the mirror.
Well, I think that's what everybody has to do. The thing that worries me the most is global warming. You can, the wrong financial advice and get rid of whatever government agencies you want to get rid of. You can always put them back in 4 years later. But you can't lose 4 years of global warming. I mean, we're seeing these storms hit now. And once in 1,000 years storms are now hitting every other year, every year. And it's not like you could say, well, it's going to get better. It's not.
It's very funny that you mentioned that, because, the hardest thing to write on the week of an election, because I have to start it on Monday for the show on Friday, and the election is Tuesday. I can't write Monday night who won the election in a show. So I said, this week, what I want to do, and what I'm going to do Friday night, is a piece about global warming, about the oceans. Because the only time the floating garbage patch in the middle of the ocean was raised was by the insult comic, when he made the joke about it and said it was like Puerto Rico, and everybody flipped out about that. And my thing is, yeah, haha, but it's really a sad commentary that neither party mentions this giant problem.
Size of Texas out there, and confluence of...
It's got bigger. Now it's the size of Alaska.
So is Texas.
Yeah.
and everyone, all those people moving there.
Everyone in it.
Yeah.
But you love all the states. You're beloved everywhere, right? I mean, you're beyond politics.
Am I?
Don't you think?
Well, I hope so. I'll take your word for it.
I don't think people see you as
a political person.
Yeah. Well, as someone who, they may imagine, okay, he lives and works in Hollywood and Canadian and, probably a liberal, but I don't feel like most people in this country hate, especially the conservatives, quite frankly, are much more tolerant of people they don't like. It's the liberals who are purists, especially the ones in this town. They're the ones who, like, if you don't agree with me 1,000,000%, I don't even want to know you. That's one of the reasons they lost. They have a bad attitude.
I don't know why the Democrats lost. I don't understand why the Democrats lost.
Well, people will be writing books about it for years, many reasons. Part of it was, just Biden should not have stayed on so long.
That I understand. But inflation, prices have come down, the economy is good. I mean, I don't know why they voted against her.
Well,
against the party.
I certainly could go on and on about that. But basically, she was not a great candidate, let's be honest. When they asked...
Why isn't she a great candidate? She combined several trends of thought here. Black, woman.
That's not a candidate. Those are, that's identity politics. That's one of the Democrats' problems.
Those are elements.
Nobody elects. I mean, yeah, people are tribal. There are some people who will vote just for the person who looks like them or is like them. But obviously, I think this proves you got to go a lot further than that. You can't just be woman black person. I mean, Trump got a quarter of black men. That's 25%.
I know.
You know, he didn't do much better in generally because the women are very much against him, but he killed it with Latinos. If there's any great irony in this election, is that the guy who came down the escalator 10 years ago talking about the rapists, they keep giving him more of their votes. And again, I understand this.
Why? Tell me what you understand.
I will. Democrats don't understand their own constituencies. If you're a Mexican American, who do you fear taking your job? The guy who just came in through the border. Of course they like the guy who says, I'm going to keep everybody out.
But he didn't say I'm keeping everybody out.
Well,
I'm going to send everybody out.
Okay, but the Democrats could have won this election in a walk, I think. Not a walk, but I think they could have won it if Biden got out earlier. They had a true primary season to find the best candidate, not just one whose turn was it, who, by the way, before they anointed her, nobody was sort of on the page that she was very good at being a candidate. Or
she failed the first time.
Okay, so if they had done that, and then the pointless reversing of Trump's border policy, which was remain in Mexico and not everything counts as asylum. The Democrats' fatal flaw is they always have to look like the good people. So they reversed that and let in too many people. Not that we shouldn't be a nation of immigrants, but it just was a lawless shit show for years. And people noticed, and then they started to send them, the Democrats' hypocrisy was called out because the people in the northern cities who were like, we welcome everybody. And then the governors on the border states were like, okay, well, here they are. Enjoy this busload.
What hasn't been talked about to the extent I will be is the unrest given global warming of millions of people wanting to get somewhere else. And somewhere else is like the United States. There are millions of people that will in the near future want to leave their country because they can't live in it.
Yes. And look, I mean, it's going to happen here too. We could lose Florida.
Well, we will.
And if anybody knows about losing Florida, it's Democrats. By the way, Florida, which used to be a swing state, is now just bright red. And you know why it is?
Him?
No.
The governor?
The influx of Latinos. So, again, the irony of the Republicans accusing the Democrats, I don't think the Democrats are doing this, of purposely letting in all these Latin people to vote for Democrats. And then, in Florida, it worked out the other way.
Yeah.
They voted for the Republicans.
Well, the best laid plans everywhere, anytime, anywhere. What did he say? You have a plan, you get hit in the face, and
that's Mike Tyson. Yeah. Oh yeah, he's fighting Jake Paul. Let's go. I bet you could get to.
Do you want to go?
Yeah. Where is it? Is it like Vegas?
I believe it's Vegas.
You want to go to that fight? It's like,
but we have to go.
I can't. It's the night before my last show of the season. Oh no, not the last show. It's the night before a show. It's the 15th of this month, and I got
it is
on the 16th. Yeah.
Or where you should go with me? I'm going to the Antarctic Christmas week.
Oh, yeah. Let me start packing now, Bill. Yeah, that will happen. Never.
You're never going to go to the Antarctic and see what you can't see anywhere else.
I don't go east of La Brea. I'm. No,
yes, you do. You fly all over the country.
I'm kidding, but no. I definitely don't go to rough places like that. The fact that you do is just astounding, and you look the same as when you were here before. You don't seem to age so much.
Well, it's happening. It's all internal.
Well, yeah. Oh man, did you watch that movie, The Substance?
No.
You ever heard of it with Demi Moore and?
I heard about her in it. Yeah.
I mean, it's that kind of performance where the critics, which first of all, she is fantastic, but they're all, they do love it in Hollywood and love to call you brave when you're known as a beautiful woman, which she is, and then you get ugly on camera, or have the balls to, you know, show yourself as you really are without makeup. And the movie is about this woman who is in her early 60s, and she's got a exercise show, and they're replacing her because, you know, come on, you're 61 now, we need someone younger. We can get to why that's kind of hypocritical in ways. But so she hears about this substance that you can take and you inject yourself, and what happens is another you, like your back opens up and another you comes out, who's her like at 22.
Who plays that?
Margaret Qualley.
Oh, I see. It is an actual actress.
Yes. And then in the movie, you get like 1 week, you're not two different people. You're the same person. You're so like sharing this substance that you shoot each other up with. But
what's happened to the original body?
It lies dormant for a week while the other one goes out in the world. And then they switch, and you have to do it this way. And of course, what happens is that it breaks down, and they do see each other as rivals, and they do start hurting each other in different ways. And she's using up all, and she's doing that.
Okay, so let me tell you your enunciation of that story. And now I'm in the position of a producer. I've got money, I'm going to make a film. And you tell me that story, and I say to you, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. It would never go. It's just impossible to do, and I don't think it'll go. And I'm not touching that. And given the milieu of what's happening in Hollywood now, where things are like very trepidatious. Nobody's spending money. Nobody's buying anything. Very few people are making content because they had bought so much prior that there's a real dearth of work going on here. That story told to me in this day and age, I would have said, if they said to me, Shatner, I would have said, that's crazy. You'll never sell that story.
Why? I think it's, first of all, it's supposed to be a commentary on how...
Youth. On the striving for you.
Well, yes, exactly. On how much we worship youth, which I don't think is exactly blowing the cover off a big secret that people like good-looking young people, certainly for that dimension. What I find a little hypocritical is you can't kind of have it both ways. Like the young people are always saying about my generation, the boomers, move over, you guys are hanging on too long. We want to, you know, you're blocking the way for us. And then this movie is about, well, they're doing that. They're moving out the 61-year-old. No, boo, that's bad. How dare you throw her out to the... So you can't have it both ways.
Right.
You know, they're doing precisely what they ask. It's here's the young, hot one now. And, but, I mean, the director obviously wanted this movie to be tough to watch. I mean, there's just a lot of like close-ups of decaying flesh and stuff like that. Obviously it was intended
through the television
movie channels.
Well, I'm looking at, what do I feel like looking at tonight?
Right.
Huh? What do you feel like looking at tonight? And the days, especially this whole last several months, with all that was on television was politics and dire things are happening.
Well, no. If you flip through the movie channels, you'd see 50 movies.
No. So what my point is, what do you feel like seeing? You got away from all the things that are, because you got to stay abreast of the news. You're part of the life, so you have to watch what's happening in the life.
I certainly do for my living.
Well, of course,
you know,
and I do for
you're a citizen.
Exactly. Well, yes.
Not of this country.
but in looking for something to escape that,
right?
The last thing I want to see is that ugliness. So I find myself looking at these stupid, five heroes saving the world.
But there's a million things in between. Yes,
cooking shows.
You don't have to go all the way to cooking shows to get away from the news. Just watch. I mean, any movie that's ever been made, any television show that's ever been made. I mean, this like everything that's ever been made can be seen. So why do you have to watch a cooking show?
Well, because some of those I wondered that myself.
Because it soothes you.
It's soothing, but also...
Well, you're a foodie.
But it's of interest. What's going into... How is it being made? What is it being done? Or redoing a house.
Remember at dinner you were mad at me because I ordered the same thing as you? You were like, what are you doing? We need variety. You know, like, I think you wanted to eat off my plate so you could have another type of food to sample. I was like, you idiot.
You know, multiple sensations. It's important.
Well, but not at the same time. I mean, you don't want to mix food and sex. That's always a big mistake, don't you think?
I've never understood that. Have you?
No, it's stupid.
Have you ever?
We all do everything when
No.
When we're young.
Not everybody puts syrup on their genitals.
No,
or cake.
Well, you know, if it's on your genitals, you're not the one licking it off. So, you know, it doesn't bother me that much. But I don't remember ever having syrup on my genitals, but
Did you ever have food?
I do remember the song by Victor Moan, Syrup on My Genitals. Yeah, what a crooner. Oh my God.
It was a syrupy
and I
way
think
of doing it.
Mel Torme also did it in later years in The Velvet Fog. Right. Yes, he was syrup on my balls.
Are we the only ones who would remember Mel Torme? Is he?
And Victor Moan.
And Victor Moan.
And elections. Do you know that, like, one of the most popular, maybe the most, I think, yesterday Google searches was, who is running in the United States election? Like, tons of people didn't know Biden had dropped out. Yeah, that's the country you're living in.
I hate to think of it that way.
But Bill, you can just just like like if you go to any of the streaming services that have movies and you go to search, just put in like any letter, random, like B, and then B-A, and then all the movies will start coming up that begin with that, and you'll go, oh, Balls for the Holidays, I remember that one. And I mean, it's just so easy to find something that's a little more satisfying than just...
the black and whites, you know, the whodunits, they were good, but I need a movie tailored to my mood, and that's difficult to do.
Right. Yeah, I also like movies with pretty people in them, I'm not going to lie. If I'm going to stare at the screen, you know, because not all the TV I consume am I looking directly at the screen. I have a TV in the kitchen and I'm making food and I love that.
That's no way to see a movie.
Well, it depends on the movie. It depends on how much I want to see it.
Well, there you are.
Or if I've seen it before. Like, I got The Revenant on in the kitchen now.
Do you look at a movie with a technical attitude as well? No. That's a good shot. I wonder how they got that.
Sometimes. I mean, I made my living as an actor mostly in the 80s and certainly did enough television and movies to understand it and remember it, and glad I'm not still doing it. But I don't want to. I did have a long discussion with Quentin Tarantino here once about the movie...
I was here with when he was...
Yeah, the movie 1917. The World War I movie.
I love that movie.
I did too. And
how did they do that movie?
This was my point to Quentin, and he felt I was overly impressed with it, and maybe I was, because he's a cinematic genius. So to him, it was no big trick. To us,
it's a big trick.
I think so too.
Of course.
No, he allowed that, but he just thought I was a little overly impressed with the one-shot thing. And I understand. I got where they changed the magazine when he goes in and it turns to black. I get it. Hitchcock did the same thing with
absolutely. Hitchcock did it all the time.
Not all the time. He did it in Rope.
And I'll tell you who else.
Rope.
In Rope.
That's the movie.
He'd go into a trunk.
Yes, or he'd go right behind Jimmy Stewart's back.
Right, and pull back.
I mean, but that's the technology. The magazine doesn't last more than like 40 minutes. So you got
11 minutes on a magazine. But now that isn't a problem.
No.
Electrical.
But just to give the audience that point of view where there's never a cut, it just brings you so much more into the story, like, wow, I'm really here, because it's continuous as our life is.
Orson Welles did a lot of it too.
One shot?
Where
Like what?
Not
Citizen Kane.
Not Citizen Kane, but what was the other one that he?
Magnificent Ambersons.
Magnificent Ambersons.
Is one shot.
And also some of the gangster movies. Our friend director, gangster.
Clint Eastwood.
Gangster.
Ice Cube. Edward G. Robinson.
Well,
Jimmy Cagney.
No, the director of
Martin Scorsese.
Martin Scorsese.
Okay, I feel
did a long shot.
I feel like we're a married couple that just lost the newlywed game. But it's just an amazing movie and some of the shots, remember the one where he sees a plane, they're on the ground, and you see it having a dogfight in the distance, and without cutting, the plane has a dogfight up in the sky and then crashes right where these actors were looking at it and pointing at it in the sky. And then it continues as they drag the guy out of the plane, and then he kills him.
How did they? Well, they must have superimposed. They did it.
And this. Don't get me started on award shows, but this is, just to me, evidence number 392. That they're full of shit, because a movie like that, and The Revenant, which I've always thought should have won Best Picture, because they took the art of filmmaking to another level. That has to be better than just, it's the kind of movie that made us feel good about ourselves. I
absolutely agree with you, but especially there are awards for that. It's taking the technology that everybody knows. I mean, it's advanced, but superimposition and special effects, but taking it to such like that scene of a dogfight going on while the characters, it's like, that's not important. What's important is down here. No, that's not important. But oh my God, it's important. It's so
right.
An intelligent use of existing technology.
All I could think of after I watched that was the very first movie that won the Academy Award was Wings.
Right.
Howard Hughes.
Right.
Scorsese made the movie about Howard Hughes, and that's the whole first act.
I've forgotten that a long time.
Yes, The Aviator.
Yeah.
DiCaprio.
Yeah.
And he's playing Howard Hughes, and Howard Hughes is making a movie and spending more money than anyone has ever made on a movie. The year is like 1928. And they shoot it. It cost like $1 million, which was like $1 trillion back then. And then it's bad. He doesn't like it. And he reshoots it because they needed clouds to give a sense of movement of the planes. Otherwise, it didn't look like it was real. You have to see perspective.
Right.
So they reshot it with clouds. But to think that was the first movie about a World War I plane in a dogfight, and then we move over to 1917 and saying, wow, the progress that we do not acknowledge progress in this country well.
Well, I'm a living.
Yes, that's it. You're living. Let's not get greedy.
I worked with cameras that were the size of bears, with heat coming out of them from tubes and fans inside the cameras to dissipate the heat. So when a camera came in for a close-up, it was like a breathing monster. People wilted when a television camera came in for a close-up. Now, they're tiny cameras with long lenses, and you don't know they're there. And marks you had to hit. Now you don't have to. It's lit in such a way. I mean, it's just the difference between the technology of 20, 30, 40 years is the technology of...
I did not know that about the Bear camera.
Oh, my Lord.
And
they were gigantic. They were as big as the chair, bigger than the chair.
And they emitted heat?
They had tubes that had, remember radios?
So this is like when you did, what's the one with the Twilight Zone?
No, that was long before Twilight Zone.
Twilight Zone?
Oh, I was active in Canada when television came in. We didn't know what it was.
Canada has television?
Canada won all the awards for radio. in the '50s, in the early years. And then one day, about a year or two after it came into the States, Canada said, we must have televisions. They kind of rearranged the radio studio to have some lights and a camera in it. And I was a part of it. And I wrote for it as well. I met my first wife on a show that I wrote, I cast her as the actress. Lousy show, not a great marriage either.
Cast her, married her. That sounds a little Puff Daddy-ish.
Doesn't it? Yeah. But the technology, which I'm a witness to, is mind-boggling.
It is. In every dimension of life.
Cancer.
Yes. Well, not as, yeah. I mean, progress, but not. You would have thought back in 1970, when Richard Nixon declared a war on cancer, you would have thought, 54 years later, probably a little bit, I mean, I don't think any of us will be satisfied until we can walk into a doctor's office and have him say, oh, you have cancer, but we know what caused it and we know exactly what to do.
They're close.
You think?
Yeah.
Wow.
With chemicals and...
I'm going to start drinking again. At these prices, I can't afford not to get cancer.
Have you had cancer?
No. What a question.
Well, no.
If I had, I wouldn't tell you.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
I'm very private about that kind of stuff. I have never missed a show except the two they made me miss because I had, wink, wink,
cancer,
COVID.
Oh.
I mean, it was their choice, but I've never missed a show in 31 years. Never missed a stand-up performance except when the plane couldn't get in. Never because of sickness. I believe the show must go on. And I believe you don't talk about your personal problems. I've never burdened the audience. Some people do, and it's fine. I'm not knocking it.
But it's not a burden. For example,
well,
and I too,
well, that's how I see it.
I've never missed a performance. I've never missed.
Is that right?
I've never missed a performance.
Some people wish you did.
Right. And I don't miss those people either. But
enough about Mr. Spock. Or so, who's the one you're feuding with? The driver.
I don't feud with anybody.
Sulu. Don't you feud with him still?
There are sick people in this world that if you fight with them, it's a losing battle. I mean, the illness has taken over.
He seems like such a nice guy, but yes. I just always want to say, come on, you just drove. That was somebody's bit about Star Trek. No. He drove. What was the big deal?
Have you been ill and gone on?
Of course.
Well, what kind of illness?
Back in the day.
What's that mean? Whose fucking day is it that you're talking about?
It's generically, it can mean anything. And people also say, that was a minute, I haven't seen you in a minute.
Right.
These are just,
No, but what does back in the day mean?
Back in the day, well, it's, kids are not exactly what you call up on history, so it's good for them because they can say back in the day, and it just means generally before now, which is all I know about history. They don't know, whether the Middle Ages came before the Renaissance or the other way around. So back in the day is just generic and suits them very well. I think that's where it came from.
Well, where does your back in the day?
Okay, but when I say back in the day in that instance, it would mean like when I was younger, like when I was in my 20s, 30s, 40s, I got way sicker than I do now. I got flu, cold, a few times a year because I lived so much less healthy, because I learned how to live healthier. And of course I have to, because when you're older, you're on a short leash. You seem to be able to do whatever you want. I don't have that luxury. I have to live.
No, I eat very...
this is like I allow myself a drink or two only on Wednesday night.
Is that right?
Yeah. This is it.
Because you play with the reputation of being a hard
pothead.
Liver.
Oh, I am a pothead.
Yeah, but that's bad for your lungs.
I wouldn't say it's good ever to put smoke in your lungs.
That's just a negative way of putting it. It's bad for your lungs. I wouldn't say it's good. What you mean is it's bad for your lungs.
Yes, counselor.
You've evaded that reality.
I have not evaded it. I'm aware of it, and it's a trade-off that I discuss with myself many times.
Who wins the argument?
Well, obviously, pot.
Well, obviously, I do. Right.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure. Of course, there are people who smoke from the minute they wake up to the end of the day. I am so far from that. Not Yeah. Well,
they're living in another reality.
You can certainly name a number of celebrities who have done that.
Who smoke from morning till night?
Snoop Dogg.
So they're who?
Snoop Dogg, Willie Nelson.
Snoop Dogg does?
Snoop Dogg, yes.
Still?
Well, he did. He did back in the.
He seems very alert now.
He did back in the day. No.
His or yours?
No, I think he probably. I don't know if he still does, but he certainly did. A lot of those rappers.
You know,
and I'm
Snoop
talking
Dogg
about.
is an interesting character.
Oh, he's great. I love him.
But I've always thought of him as being like exotic. But on this show he's on, he's so there. He's so
what do you mean
funny?
Exotic.
Well, I mean, removed from my reality.
Right. No, he's just a dude from Long Beach. You know?
Who's got a quick mind.
Yeah, of course. I mean, look at the way he parlayed a career that started out, way in the, serious gangster rap phase, where if you quoted some of the lyrics today, I mean, you would not win the Now Man of the Year award. I mean, rap in that day was very misogynistic. It's just how that was, and some of these guys, LL Cool J also, they started from there, and now it's a brilliant thing to do. They mainstreamed it. That's what you have to do. That's what singing stars do. I mean, Lady Gaga, started out very counterculture and, was wearing meat dresses and stuff. And, but now she's whatever she is, 40 or 38 or something. And so she's much more of just like, oh, now I'm a movie star and, I can sing with Tony Bennett. And
that's true.
You got to grow with your audience. But they age.
Snoop Dogg has done a metamorphosis. I mean, that's from the dreadlocks or whatever it was, the long pigtails, and the rap, and almost.
Yeah, but I used to have him on Politically Incorrect in the 90s. He's the same guy.
Is he?
Yeah. I mean, they would come and, the hallway would just be filled with the smell of smoke. I mean, and I would just so admire that.
Let me ask you
the balls to just say, fuck it, you know what? Arrest me for this stupid crime.
Let me ask you a question about smoking pot. When I did, and I haven't done it in a while for, I don't know.
The night is young.
Well, I'm afraid of losing control of my
bladder,
of my imagination. I've had some bad trips, and
really,
yeah.
But you don't really trip on pot.
Well, you can. Well, it depends on the individual. You trip.
Yeah,
I mean, you lose reality.
Well, I sure don't. I mean, I'd love to.
What do you mean?
I've been smoking for 50 years, Bill. I mean, I do not lose reality. It'd be awesome, but I don't.
But the reality changes. It has to. Why else would you smoke it?
Oh, please. That's not the reality. That's just your mood. That's just your mood. And it
but your mood conditions your reality, man.
To a degree, but we're talking about.
You feel bad, you're looking around, I'm going to commit suicide. You feel good, let's go party.
Right, and those are the extremes, which I'm telling you, this doesn't bring me to in either way. Of course not. I mean, come on, what world are you living in? There are drugs that do that to you. I mean, there are tragic stories sometimes where somebody young dies. It just happened with a pop star.
You don't find your driving affected?
Well, I don't drive.
You don't drive with your car?
No.
Why not?
Because
it affects your reality.
No, because if I get caught, they'll punish me for it. That's why. I can drive perfectly well stoned. I wouldn't do it anymore, but back in the day, I remember one time in band camp. No, one time I was driving. Must be in my early 30s, and I was. Didn't care back then, apparently. And I remember driving to this place and having zero memory of driving there because your brain, you have the two halves of your brain.
Right.
And the half of my brain that did things like saw red lights and stopped, and that was working fine.
Yeah.
And the other half of my brain was thinking about 1,000 other things and had no recollection of the actual roads.
But you could do that without smoking. You could drive a distance there. How the hell did I get here? But you're talking about altering the reality to one degree or another. And if you're in it, do you know the degree with which you've altered reality?
You just said it, 1 degree. If you alter something 1 degree, it's not that much. And you probably are always altered by 1 to 10 degrees in any given day based on how much sleep you got.
Yeah, but that's such a rationale for smoking as much as you do. It's not good for your lungs.
I don't smoke that much.
Oh, really?
No. That's what I'm telling you. There are people like Snoop and Woody. I think for years Paul McCartney was that person who just when they traveled with pot, they traveled with bags of it. They go through like a bag a day. I go through a bag a year.
The way you talk, it sounds like you smoke it all the time. Then you don't.
You're hearing that.
From your mouth.
No. What you hear is I do pot jokes. It's a funny thing. People like to have things about them. And of course, I wouldn't do it if it wasn't true. I am a longtime tribune for the cause of marijuana legalization, and I think it's a great drug if it is for you. It's not for everybody, and that's true with any drug. It really depends on how it agrees with your body chemistry. But certainly, I hope you're libertarian enough to say if it agrees with mine, then
I'm glad it's
yeah, and that's all it is.
It's legal because it's a natural thing, and it's like those leaves that are popular in Africa, where they
Khat.
Yeah,
Khat.
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 Yeah, gotcha. Yes, they're doing the same thing, aren't they?
That's like cocaine. I mean,
it is cocaine.
We know that cocaine here in America is not cocaine. It said the best you'd ever get was about 50% cocaine. When they chew it, as they have for millennia in the jungle, it's not the same. It's not that speedy asshole high that we get from cocaine. That's probably what the fuck they mix it with, and some of the cocaine. But the natives who, I've been told this by people who would know, like when they just chew it, it's like it's a much mellower high.
Yeah, no, it's reasonable given the conditions in Africa that they sometimes live under. Especially if they're living in the bush, it's tough.
Did you ever do coke?
Yeah, but what I found was it didn't froze my nose, and then things would drip, and you weren't aware that you had a lot of moisture coming out, and it was not leading man like. Excuse me, you got snot. Excuse me, is that caught? No, snot.
Yeah. Yeah. But you certainly were, riding high primo, on the, I think
back in the day.
Back in the day, when coke was much more acceptable. I mean, it was much more acceptable in the 60s, 70s.
You mean it's not acceptable now?
It is not acceptable now.
Really?
People literally would offer it in business meetings. I don't think you'd find that today. Even in Hollywood, I don't.
Well, because they probably didn't know about it.
Yes, and then people started to die.
Yeah.
There was a famous basketball player who was going to be a great Celtic, and he died, young. And
I got invited to a party with some frequency. An actor friend would every Saturday night have a party and have coke and marijuana, and I'd go to the parties and sniff and snort and drink, and they'd say, I read in the news about some Thai fishermen way out at sea, and a wave came and swamped the boat. And they fell out of the boat in the middle of the ocean. They're in the middle of the ocean, and they're trying to swim. And suddenly they feel solid something under their feet.
The submarine.
Huh?
Submarine.
No.
Oh.
Porpoises.
Oh, porpoises.
And the porpoises took them to the land. And we started to laugh. What would it be like to be, you're striving, and suddenly in the middle of the ocean, you're riding a porpoise? It's crazy. And we'd laugh and laugh and laugh and then go home. And the next week, somebody would say, I heard about these Thai fishermen. And they tell the same story. And week after week after week, it seemed like a new story. We would laugh about having heard it for the first time, except, didn't we did this last week? And there would be that laughter about that.
I mean, drugs can make you laugh. Mushrooms are the ultimate laugh.
I did mushrooms.
I don't know. People have different experiences, like I say, with different drugs. To me, it's the only drug that didn't make me horny, that made me think, sex, what the fuck? Why would I put something of mine in you? That's ridiculous. But the laughter, I remember the second time I did it out here, maybe it was the third time, but we were also drinking beer, not a lot, and of course, this drug just makes you laugh hysterically for no reason for great times on end, and you're on the floor, you just want to get low. And every time we would laugh hysterically for 2 minutes, I would say, man, this Budweiser is fantastic, which was funny the first time.
Right.
But on mushrooms, it was funny 100 times. You can't buy that.
I went to Amsterdam with my wife just for the purposes of seeing what the drug situation was like. We were in London.
What year are we talking about?
10 years ago.
10 years ago.
And we flew to Amsterdam. It was in the winter, and so they're selling it on the street. So we smoked a little, and we got some mushrooms that we took back to the room, and we ate them, and then I was sure there was a head of a lizard coming out of the wall. Okay?
Hey, that's no way to talk about your wife.
She got up off the wall. That's funny. That's the funniest thing you've ever said. And I'm not stoned. So she speculated on world peace, and I was transfixed by these monsters coming out of the wall. So that was scared me to death. I never want to do it again.
Yeah. I wanted that experience on mushrooms. I never got it. It never made me hallucinate. I did acid or whatever. Acid, There hasn't been acid since the 60s. They make something and they sell it as acid because it's unregulated, but it's not acid. But something I did once, and I did hallucinate a little. I did see somebody was playing a guitar, and suddenly their fingers were comically elongated.
Oh, in your sight.
That's what right. And I was like, oh, here it is.
Yeah,
right. And I thought, I was waiting for Yellow Submarine to come on, the full-length movie.
But it was just long
and that
fingers.
was it.
Yeah.
Because my mind, that makes sense to me. They can't hypnotize me, although I would love to have that happen. Some minds just are locked in some places, for better or worse.
Bill, I was hypnotized.
Thank you.
No, and I'm going to hypnotize you.
Now?
Right now.
Oh, come on.
Okay, no.
Oh, if I'm up here walking around like a chicken.
No. It's going to be the most pleasant experience you've ever had. And I'll do it the way they did it to me, okay? All right, now, really, seriously, close your eyes. Stop laughing. Stop laughing. Stop laughing.
All right.
Stop laughing.
I'm taking it very seriously.
Okay, take it very seriously. Close your eyes.
Okay.
I want you to count backwards from 3. Stop laughing.
It's a short journey, All right. Okay, 3, 2, 1.
No, slowly. Oh. Dwell on each number. Dwell on each number.
3 is for the number of tits a Martian chick has.
Relax your brain. Relax.
2.
Good.
1.
Okay, open your eyes. Open your eyes.
Kill Shatner.
No.
Kill Shatner.
No, you were hypnotized.
Shatner. I must kill
you were hypnotized.
Shatner.
Do you understand? You were out for about 5 minutes. You were out for about 5 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
And that's what they did to me, and I thought, was I?
Yeah.
And they brought witnesses in. No, you were out.
Okay.
That's what they did.
Is this your party trick? Is this what you play on everybody?
Right, that's my party. Right. Oh, it's so much fun. Everybody laughs.